I'm still muted. There we
Muted.
go. All right. Boomer beginning. But damn, that was a good intro, buddy. Good job. Hey, everybody. Welcome to good job. Welcome to Stream by the Crossroads, where we talk A Song of Ice and Fire. And tonight and for the next X amount of weeks, we will be talking House of the Dragon episode reviews. Tonight is episode 1 review. And with me tonight, we have the lovely Jane Theory.
Hello.
How are you, Jane?
Great. Happy. Very happy to be here.
I'm happy you're here too. We have Zach's, and he's here. He's muted, but I unmuted him. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Let everybody know who you are, because it's the first time you're on my channel, and where they can find you.
Yeah, you can search up Zach7 on YouTube. I do a live stream on Thursdays. I go on Salty Texas C's live stream on Tuesdays, and I'm always lurking in your chat, Scott. So thanks for having me on here.
I'm glad to have you on, man. You're doing really great. Guys, check out his channel. I'm enjoying your stuff, so that's why I invited you on, because you're probably going to pass me soon. So I jump on coattails early.
I'll take it.
Some of these coattails I've definitely been, not for his sub count, but for his mind and his magic, Mr. Grant Gregory.
G'day. I'm really happy to be here. I watched an episode and I got to see the Doctor's knob. So
yep. I
let's
mean,
talk about it.
If Mason was here, we would get what we told everyone last week we would have: man, butt, time, duration. But he's not here, so we'll have to find the exact time we saw Matt Smith's butt.
Man,
Yeah, I'm trying to work it out now.
Man, butt Monday. That's what it is. Man, butt Monday. My man. So we're talking House of Thrones.
House of Thrones, Game of the Dragons.
Yeah, all that good shit. But we have emotionally unstable amphetamine in the house. We have Tim Talks. Tim.
That was Amphetamine.
Amphetamine. That's Tina. I always forget that. Sorry. We have Tim Talks. Tim has a great Instagram, guys, and YouTube channel, so check him out too. E. Clay Thomason, Boosh McFadden. We have Adam Price, dude. How you been? Good to see you. Culture Casino is in the chat, probably on 30 people's chats right now. Mark Lazor, he is a mod of mods. JD is in the house. Yes, I was muted. Thank you, sir. I definitely screwed that one up. Griffon Turbo, how are you doing tonight? Anybody else yet? Right in it. And Brent, of course, Brent Sanders, always up in What's Up, Mofos. Well, what is up, Mofos? Let's go around and first, Jane, what did you think of the episode as a whole for a pilot?
As a whole, I enjoyed it. And I think that we're back to quality cinematography, costume design, casting. Their performances were great. I love some of the dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
There were some pacing issues. There were some issues with, I think, over the top HBO-ish stuff. But overall, I really liked it. It was a good start.
Yeah, you gave it an 8 out of 10,
8
correct?
out of 10, yeah.
Wow. Okay. We'll talk about that. Zach, what are you talking about?
I liked it. I thought it was very good. It wasn't perfect, but I thought it was a great start, and it really pulled you back into that world of Westeros, and you could kind of really feel it. The sets were good, especially the interior sets. The casting was good. Matt Smith is amazing. I've never watched Doctor Who, so I'm not one of those people, but he really pulled me in with his character. I thought Princess Rhaenyra was better near the end, but she kind of lost me a bit in the middle. She was, I think, maybe the pacing issue too, but really overall good episode.
Okay. Mason, how are you, man? Welcome back. You're muted. There you go. Mason, what did you think of the episode, and did you get the time and duration of Matt Smith's butt? Good answer. I didn't hear anything. Are you talking, my friend? Maybe you're having mic issues? I think you're having mic issues, but that's okay, Mason, because it's live and that's what we do. Grant, how about you, buddy?
I know. Here's the thing. I know what you're doing, HBO, with this. I know how they're being sneaky when they snuck the old intro into it when the dragon was flying over the Red Keep and everything. There was part of me that just went, "Oh, I'm already starting to like this." I'm like, nothing's happened yet.
Right.
But then the first line of dialogue really took me out of it. I did that first 15 seconds when the Queen Who Never Was speaking, the voiceover.
Right.
I was just like, oh no, this is where they're going with it. But overall, I don't think the Lord of the Rings has a chance to get even close to this when it comes to quality. Just purely simply honest designs. Like Matt Smith's armor is something that I was googling last night to see if I could buy.
Right.
Because I really like the look of that.
Yeah, I agree with you, man.
But yeah, I think this was a better first episode than Game of Thrones' first episode.
Wow.
I think it was a better first episode than that one.
One more thing too. It's interesting that you mentioned wanting to buy something. I think that's what a lot of times the studios miss.
Mm-hmm.
Is that if it's good quality content, if it's good storytelling, if it's entertaining, that's what fans want to do. It got me back interested in actually looking for merch. And I haven't felt that way since maybe season 4 of Game of Thrones.
Oh, wow. I don't know. Mason, are you there yet?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, my friend. What did you think about the first?
Okay, good.
What did you think about the first episode?
I really liked it. I think that as long as it stays at the quality that it is, I'm good with it. I will watch it until it ends. But like they could turn it woke very easily. But I did see that they didn't like make every male character just completely evil.
Right.
So I'm thankful for that. Daemon definitely stole the show.
I agree with you with the Daemon thing. Like I didn't expect I would like Matt Smith that much in that role. He played it perfectly.
I did not. I rejected him in that role initially.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying that.
I just couldn't understand. I couldn't see it. But
do you think he's pretty enough yet, Jane? Because I remember initially you said he's too ugly to be.
Right. I didn't say ugly.
Right.
Well, you just said he wasn't beautiful enough.
I felt like and I still feel the Targaryens aren't quite as otherworldly as they should be, but he embodied the danger and the lethality of what they are, and I like that, the passion that you never know what they're going to do. That aspect of Targaryen personality, that sort of dragon, you could see that exuding from him.
Right.
And
yeah,
that's what I wanted.
Go ahead, Mason.
Yeah, I really liked what they did with his character. Like they introduced him doing some like pretty bad things. Like he beats up everybody in King's Landing, but then he sits down and he's like, "What are you talking about? I'm trying to restore order," and like he seems very like calculated in making like what he does make sense. Like at the very end, we're doing spoilers, right?
Yeah, for this episode, definitely.
Okay, good. So at the very end, when he calls Viserys weak, he's like, "But I want to be here to protect you." He does something like pretty bad, like calling the king weak, but he means well.
Agreed. I got the same thing from that. Like my overview of this episode was, I don't think I'm as high on it as you guys, but I thought for a book reader and a fan of the lore, it was a good intro. It lacked the humor. Like they tried to have Matt Smith be the humor of like a Tyrion, but they needed Mushroom or somebody like that to generate a little levity. But like for somebody just stepping in, even though they gave you like, all the overlay of what has happened and where they're at, I still felt like if you were a newbie, you kind of be lost in the world a bit.
I wouldn't have had any of that. I would have skipped straight to the dragon flying over the city. I wouldn't have had the introduction because we know it's before. Right? They can promote that outside the episode and just let it unfold and let people figure it out in other ways. I just think it was too distracting. And having Rhaenyra go through, the line of succession issues, I feel like they're going to go through that again later on in the series. So why start with it?
It should be a thing. Why is she called the queen that never was? Why, make us ask questions, right, Zach?
Yeah.
I think that with that character too, they didn't establish Princess Rhaenyra to be the delight of court like she's described in the book. She's not electric. People don't seem to love her. So later on, it will be, well, I don't want to spoil it later on, but she doesn't seem that popular right away, and
Right.
she's aged up too, so that makes a big difference. But yeah, there's no electricity there with her, at least that I see.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, the aging up thing, I'm cool with that because I don't want to see,
Yes,
you know, like
agreed.
an 8-year-old be courted by the Dornish guy. I can't even think of
Wait
his
a
name,
minute.
but
First of all, Kristen Cole, I didn't think he was Dornish. Am I wrong?
He's not technically he's from that land where all of these different the Reach and the other intersect.
Okay. Okay, like the
So-
Red Mountain area or the wherever that is.
Yeah, wherever that
okay.
is. It's,
Okay.
Yeah, so technically he's not Dornish, but he could be.
Okay.
he's more fair skinned than what you would.
Well, no, I
consider most Dornish, so-
I didn't even mean like that. All I meant was I thought he was more from like the Stormlands or something like that. I didn't realize that was a Dornish house.
It was just from that area where all those lands sort of intersect and overlap.
Okay. All right. Yeah, the red Wait a minute, I got a map. I can tell
Yeah,
you
you
guys.
have a
Keep
map.
talking. Keep talking. I'll look.
Yeah, so basically, I think the aging up thing, I'm fine with that, and I do agree that if they took out that first succession thing, I think it would have been better. Just start off with some music and then the dragon flying over. I think that because that was the bit, as I said at the beginning, that's the bit that kind of got me. I was just like, oh shit, we're back! Like it just small little tricks that they did throughout the thing worked on me. I haven't gone back for my my third viewing. I've watched it twice. There's one thing I've got to say. I didn't realize how phenomenally good of an actor Rhys Ifans was in that until I watched it the second time through as Otto. Like
Oh, he's fantastic, man.
dude, he scares the shit out of me.
Yes.
Just that look. He doesn't say a single word, but he just looks. I'm like, oh man, I don't know because they're playing a little bit fast and loose with the timing. I'm like, I don't know if they're going to keep his death and everything the same as other ones, and I like how they set up the feud between the prince and
Otto.
I keep trying to call him Prince Caspian because that's what he reminded me of. When I see you.
Damon and Otto, you're saying?
No, I like that one, but the fellow
Snake?
you didn't think was Dornish.
Oh, Christian Cole.
Tristan. Oh, yeah, I like
Tristan.
Kristen. I like how they set that up because I had a feeling that he was going to go through and win the tournament. I thought, are they going to change this? And he's going to go through.
Well, they did though.
Yeah.
It pissed me off. I'm sorry. That was one of the major things that pissed me off was in that scene. First of all, I guess murdering other houses, champions is allowed, I guess. Axe to the face at it's a tournament. Why not? But what really bothered me was he was supposed to, like in the book, he beats, Damon, but he beats him fairly. That to me was not fair. Like, dude, he hit him in the back. Like, it made him look like a cheater,
But wait, this was after Damon did something to him. I can't remember what he did to him, but he went too far. Damon cheated too.
Oh no, I get that, but he supposedly beats him in that fight, hands down, knocks Dark Sister out of his hands. You know what I mean? But they make it. I don't know.
In that moment, though, he's retaliating. It's not like he just ups and just hits him for no reason.
I know, but you know what? The dude's celebrating and you smack him from behind. To me, it made it obvious that he could be cheating. Zach, tell me what you think, because I think he's cheating.
I think that because Damon cheated with the earlier joust when he hit I don't know if it was against the rules or not, but he killed the guy's horse or smoked his horse instead of the guy. So I don't know what the rules are here, but the melee looked like there was no rules. So I mean, don't turn your back on a downed opponent, I guess, unless he gives up.
Yeah.
Well, Damon was just out of control. I think that's what that whole display was showing, is that he's dealing with a lot of stress, with the possibility of losing his place, and he always felt like he didn't have really anywhere to go because he's the spare, right? You have the heir and the spare.
Heir and the spare.
And what does that mean for someone in that position who wants to be important and wants to be relevant, but he's all of that slipping away from him? Where does he go from here? What's his future? And so everything is just ticking him off.
Right.
And he did cheat, and he did harm Cole. I don't remember what the scene was, but I didn't get this feeling that Kristen was being a bad sport. I felt like he won fair and square, and this prince is being a jerk,
Oh, definitely.
and so he hit him.
Yeah, definitely. I just feel like he's supposed to be that one person where we think, it's with his character, it's kind of hard to know if he's very noble or very cunning from the books, because he switches allegiances and
The
things
book
like that.
became petty to me.
Right. But why don't we do this? Why don't we table this one, go
We
back to
jumped
the
ahead.
beginning? Yeah, we jumped way far ahead. So
Sorry, that was my fault. What
No,
happens
I
when you
get-
look for maps?
I get excited too, but it's the Red Mountains too, and it's the Prince's Pass, that area I think he's from. Anyways, zombie book review. How's it going, my friend? $5 or £5 silver sterling or whatever you guys call it. I appreciate you. He has a great channel working on a really cool video. So make sure you guys are subscribed to Zombie Box Reviews because got something good coming.
It's a green pear waving, saying, "How's it going?"
How's it going to you too, my friend? And what's this? What do you think of episode 7, 9 out of 10? Okay. So we got 7 to 9 is 46%, 4 to 6, 23, 1 to 3, 20, 10 out of 10, 9. So still 43 people voted. That's a pretty good split. I think I'm in the 4 to, I think I'm like a 6.5, 7 for an opening pilot. I felt like, I don't know. I have to say my favorite actor next to Matt Smith was Corlys the actor who plays Corlys, who wasn't supposed to be black.
The totally legit.
Totally
Valerian.
legit black Valerian, of course. Dude, that guy I felt his presence every scene he was in.
And I like the fact that he was getting shut down by certain things, but they didn't turn around and make it, it's because you're black, it's because of this. It's like,
right.
It's because of his station and who he's married to and everything. I like that, even when subtle things that they didn't spoon feed you information. Like, for anyone who hadn't read the books or anything, didn't know about the passing of the baby, just that little cough and then the maester's look, you knew something was wrong. They didn't force feed it into you go, oh no, the baby's sick, what are we going to do, sort of thing. I like that sort of storytelling that it says, well, you're smart enough to figure out that there's a big body on the pyre and there's a littler one on there without having to say, oh, by the way, your brother just died as well.
Yeah, I'm glad they did do it that way. Mason, what do you think? I don't want to leave you out, buddy.
Do
you think...
Come back to me.
Well, I'll come back to you, but the character of Corlys was, even though they race swapped him, I felt like his presence was powerful. Jane, what did you think? Because I know you felt kind of the same way as I did.
Yeah, I was happy that they didn't, make a whole big deal out of his race or skin color in this case. But the thing is, I still feel like the only reason why they took this particular approach was because of his son.
Yeah.
Because I can totally buy that at this point in their family, when they're marrying for connection.
Yep.
That his dad married some random woman in somewhere, because they're shippers.
Well, they're shippers, exactly.
Yeah,
Traders.
I can buy that, but they didn't cast him that way. They basically race swapped him for a mixed person, and the only reason they would do that is because they want his son to still appear black. And then you have a couple of boxes being checked, spoilers, whatever. But it's just, I feel like that's where they're going with it. Now, it's going to depend on how he's portrayed and whether there's mystery there, because they're supposed to be, or whether they're going to lean heavily into his sexuality. If they do, I'm still going to have a problem with this casting. Okay. But as far as the actor is concerned, fantastic job.
He is fantastic. Zach, what do you think, man?
Yeah, you know what? I thought that might pull me out of the show a little bit with the race swap casting, but not at all. He was awesome. He had weight. He had gravitas to the scenes he was in. I liked his character, and it may come up later. Obviously, there's a thing I won't talk about, but where it could affect. Yes, yeah. But I liked him. I thought he was good. It didn't bother me one bit.
All right, good. So we're gonna start back. So
the other thing too, just real quick.
Go right ahead.
She's supposed to have dark hair. That also creates some future problems potentially, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So we start out with the Council of 101. For anybody who doesn't know, so you have the old king. Why am I blanking on his name? Jane? Jaehaerys, thank you,
Yeah.
Mason. Jaehaerys is the old king. He's coming close to the end of his reign. Both his eldest sons died. His one other son's like a maester, so he can't be considered. And you had, I think it was Aemon and Baelor, whatever. He wasn't the blessed, but the same name. Those are his two oldest sons. Rhaenyra was the eldest son's eldest child. And then Viserys was the second eldest son's oldest child. But there was 14 claims. They kind of skipped all over that. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of claims going on at the Council of 101. And they tried to make it seem like this was the first time in history it was like a big issue. But it was a succession issue from the beginning, pretty much.
Yeah, I think they casually mentioned that there was like a dozen claims or something like that.
Okay,
but only
right.
2 of them were really considered. And that was Rhaenys. How would you say your name?
Rhaenys, yeah, and Viserys.
Yeah. But so when it talks about how she was passed over, it says something like Rhaenys, a woman, was passed over.
That's what took me out of it. I'm just like,
I'm
with
with you on that.
This is from the perspective of Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
So it's coming from her, which it could have come from a different narrator, as the story is from a different narrator, right?
Oh shit! Wait a minute. Is the narrator, was that Rhaenyra?
It was Rhaenyra.
Oh
Rhaenyra,
man,
yeah.
I thought it was Rhaenys. Okay.
It was Rhaenyra. So she has her own bitterness, and she got a lot of this information from Rhaenys too. So it's secondary information, and it has that. I guess what I would say is, as much as this sort of is jarring, especially if you're weary of it in entertainment, generally speaking,
Yeah.
you just have to sort of maintain that it is in context from the perspective of the character talking.
Right. Understand that now more than before, now that you said that. So the council goes on, and Viserys is chosen king by over 1,000 lords voting. Harrenhal, guys, to me, that was dope. The way Harrenhal looks was fantastic. Like, I imagine it to be broken down and but still like magnificent in its own right.
I think Jane said this, but it's I think they should have skipped that first part and gone right to the dragon for sure. Like, we didn't need that right away. There was a lot of names, information thrown out. They all sound the same. The names, just leave that for later. To me,
right? I'm with you, definitely. So we get the vote, and then, like you guys say, it kind of, we don't have an intro. I kind of was I'm hoping they have an intro in episode 2 for me. I enjoyed the intro of Game of Thrones. Like, all right, where are we on the map? And I think maybe for me, they should have had a secondary plot somewhere else, just for the simple fact that we're always with these same characters. And I felt like the world itself was lost, and it was all about the Red Keep, King's Landing. I wish we had a little bit more, of a voyage somewhere else, anywhere else. I don't know if you guys agree.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I like the fact that this is going to be the main focus of the story. Focus the first one, build the world afterwards. Have your intro on the second episode. It's quite common for that to be the case. And I'm fine with that aspect of it. But I do eventually want to see. I want to see what the world was like back then. So,
okay, I understand that too. What do you guys think? I mean, most people don't give a crap about the opening. To me, it was something special with Game of Thrones, but I mean,
I wish the dragon flying through the city was, the initial opening for this particular episode. But in terms of the, every episode opening, I'm okay with it being. Hopefully, we will have one, but I'm okay with it starting with the second episode.
Yeah, Zach.
Yeah, I think the Game of Thrones was iconic with her intro, so we're waiting for that. And like Grant said, you can kind of hear it in the back of your head with the dragon a little bit, the intro song, and so there's some member berries there. But I would like to see an intro. It's just, do they feel confident they can match up to what they've already done previously?
Right. I mean, because that was to me, Game of Thrones has one of the most brilliant intros. I mean, just the music alone is amazing, but the idea of they're all gears and mechanisms of, this game. Growing out. I always loved that about it.
And watching for changes.
Yeah.
Checking to see if it changes.
Yeah, Mason?
Shoot.
Don't worry, man. You're good.
So I had two things to say. I forgot the first one, but the second one has to do with where you're looking at right now.
I was about to talk about that. Go ahead.
So the Dragon Demands did a video on this, and talking about how the 172 years doesn't line up with the show.
No, it doesn't. It lines up with the book.
Yeah. So do you think that's them trying to like subtly back away from the show?
You know what, man? I was wondering that myself, and you literally just asked the question I was going to ask. Is this supposed to line up with the show, or are they trying to line up more with the books and push themselves away from the show? Because with this age right here, 172 years, that is book Daenerys' birth, not Game of Thrones, because she would have been born a little bit sooner, probably like 170 or 169, 169 years later. So
I think it's aligning with the books because it's that's what it's telling. I mean, from what we understand, it's the objective story. It's the objective version. So this would be the truth of what happened. And so it would have to align with the books and not the show.
How'd you guys feel about the dragon? So we get the entrance with the dragon coming through the First of all, I'll say I thought the dragon looked really good. The CGI in this, like, how can't you get She-Hulk this good? Because it looked amazing. But what did you guys think about that dragon coming through the city? I think, Zach, you said it good. It gave me the, oh my God, we're in the world of Westeros again. Yay.
Yeah.
Anyone jump on that?
I actually really liked the dragon going through, but I do think it could have benefited from having an intro after the cold open.
Right.
So I hope they have one next week. But
yeah,
I think the dragon flying around really brings you back into the world very nicely.
Definitely. How about you, Jane?
I am living for the dragons. So I loved it. I loved when we get to see Daemon's dragon as well. Yeah. I love that. And you can tell. This is where you can really tell George's influence because the dragons are unique.
Right.
They each have their own distinct personality that we're seeing in this very episode. They also look very different from one another.
Yep.
So you'll be able to distinguish them. That's something that we didn't really get in Game of Thrones. They just sort of blurred them together. But this is absolutely awesome. I loved it. I loved every time the dragons were on scene.
Yeah, I'm with you. They were really, I mean, they were amazing looking. Zach, what did you think about the CGI? How'd you feel about that? To us, I guess that's a cold opening in a way. It's their opening for this episode.
Landed
there.
Yeah. The dragon was cool. And it looked great to me. It had me looking at other stuff closely after that to see, well, is that just the CGI and does the set look good? And I think it all kind of matched up pretty well. Yeah. So I like, but the dragon is the iconic thing from the show. That's what pulls you back into that world. And so I think that's a great way to start it.
Yeah, me too. Mr. Grant?
It might be a bit of a weird thing, but I kind of really, after this episode, want to know what a dragon smells like because everyone was talking about the smell of a dragon.
Sulfur? I always thought sulfurish.
I don't know why. There's part of me that's just like...
I did too.
Sulfur and ash?
Bad?
I mean...
Because if it smelled bad,
like
why was everyone leaning in to smell it?
Is that fire and blood?
I don't think they smell bad. I think they smell like a good fire. Like
charcoal,
smoky,
like coal, like
yeah,
like Texas barbecue.
Yeah, right. What I found. Go ahead, man.
Like a lot of reptiles just smell really bad, which is why a lot of people just don't want them as a pet.
Yeah, so I'm hoping dragons don't smell bad because they're magical.
Yeah, that would suck.
look at the wing on this dragon. Look how you can see closer to where the rider is, the light coming through the skin, and then you could see like towards the tip of it, like the texture and the ripples in the wing itself. Like they did a fantastic. Like that looks like a real dragon. I'm sorry, it's a real dragon. I think they found a real dragon. I mean, you can see the sun,
the tail and everything.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I want one.
Yeah, this whole episode was just like George having the time of his life.
Yeah,
it's like put in as many dragons as possible. We need a tourney. We need as many heraldries as possible.
Right. and they got it. I mean, we'll get to the tourney again, but I got to say that tourney really gave some different designs to people's armor and stuff like that. I found it pretty cool. So we'll jump ahead a little here. We get her flying around. Now we got the city. I thought this was a really cool flyover. You get to see the dragon pit when it was in its glory, not when it was season 8, that episode where they were doing like the who has the best story? It's Bran the Broken. Stupid shit. I found that to be really cool. Just even the dragon landing was really cool.
Oh, you felt the weight of it.
Yes, I thought that was. I really was like, holy crap! You could like, is it going to drop hard? Because I feel like it's going to drop hard. Like that would be a hard ride.
I was watching the feet to see how it landed.
Same here. Same here. We got 84 people watching. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe first to me, and then to everybody else on the panel, because subscriptions are kind of how we, show off our ego and worth, I guess. So she lands. We get her. She lands. We were introduced to Rhaenyra. Now, Rhaenyra to us, I'm guessing, is like the Dany of the. They're trying to make you feel like she's the Dany of the story. I mean, even how she got off the dragon, how she flew over instead of trying to burn down King's Landing. It was the same kind of scene as her flying over. I mean, that's what I got from it. They're trying to give her the Dany vibe.
I had the weirdest thought after the landing.
I'm
sorry, go Jane. Sorry, no, you go Jane.
No, I think one of the things George loves is parallels. So you see history repeating itself over and over. So I think we will see a little bit of Dany in her. Mm-hmm. But she definitely carries her own. I mean, this is a princess who's been raised as a princess.
Right.
And so I think you get that from her a little bit more so than Daenerys.
Oh, the way she carries herself.
The way, her confidence and everything.
Zach, before we get to you, I just want, because Andy's leaving, zombie box reviews for £5 silver sterling something. I need to get going. I wanted to drop in to support my favorite YouTuber. Shh, don't tell Jesse I called you that. And this wonderful community. And then first of all, Andy, I'm honored to have you as a subscriber, as a viewer, everybody out there. I don't know why people watch us, or me mostly, and I appreciate it. I grab talented people and put them around me because that's how we roll. But your channel is going to be great, man. So guys, make sure you check out Zombie Box Reviews. And then we also had someone I haven't seen in a little while, my good friend Valiant Renegade for $4.99 saying, hail to the Sporkerz. He's a channel member and you could be one too. Thank you, Valiant Renegade. It's been a while. You're a good dude. Check out his channel. Subscribe to me before him because he already has more subs than me. And other than that, Zach, what were you going to say about Rhaenyra and the Dany comparison?
Well, I was thinking when watching this is that I was surprised by the distance and the commute to the dragons. I thought that they would be, in my mind, closer to where they'd be staying because it's quite a distance to get to them. And you think that's what separates the Targaryens. So you'd want them to be more accessible, I kind of thought. But obviously that's not how this works. But that was a surprise to me.
Yeah. Like she really had to ride quite a distance to get back to the castle.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a valid point. I didn't even think about that because I always assumed I realized the dragon pit was still there, but the way they made it look, it almost looks like where the church is. The church should be, right? Because what do you call it? Not the Sept. Is it the Citadel? No, the Sept. Yeah, the Great Sept or whatever they call it. I feel like that spot in the old show is where that was, but yet the pit is still there in that timeline. So I got a little confused by that at first.
I did.
What's up, Latino Slant? How are you doing, my friend? So we'll move on. We keep going. So now we meet her. I have to say, out of all the Targaryens, she is one of the only that has that, might be close to what I feel like a Targaryen. Still, she's not, I don't know how to explain it. Jane, you kind of know what I mean. Like, they're not like, elf-like or, like that.
Yeah, she's not quite otherworld. Like, if you saw her, you would just think she was a regular person with blonde hair.
Right.
The silver, it's so weird that the darker characters, they gave white hair almost. Like truly silver hair.
Yeah.
But with her, they did. It's been so stupid.
It is stupid. Like, why
had this silver gold hair?
But why is that so hard for them to realize?
I think they just don't. You know what I think it is? I think it would make them look too magical. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to sort of even with Game of Thrones, they tried to suppress the magic a little bit and just
Yeah.
have it here and there. And they are
Yeah,
very magical looking because they're magic. They used magic and it transformed them into what they look like.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Mason?
at the end of the show, they say the thing about the dragons are what makes us better than everybody else.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
So I think
you think it
that's
is
kind
the
of
dragons.
what the show's trying to do is like, oh, they're great because of the dragons, and kind of like tone down.
Well, I mean, we are at the pinnacle of what the Targaryen rule was.
Yeah.
Like this is the apex. This is where it starts to go downhill after this. I mean, truly.
And that's why I would have loved to have seen like true Targaryens in their weirdness and how they look. Like I wanted to see that adapted to screen, but they're just not going to do it. It looks maybe, I don't know, especially the eyes. Like I think by now you should be able to get that technology right, but apparently they didn't even try it.
Right.
Yeah, when Supernatural can do that for 15 seasons of editing people's eyes to be a certain color for all the demons, I think you could do it for this show.
Exactly.
I'm with you, man. To me, the purple and violet colored eyes, I don't know, Zach. Did we just lose Mr. Grant Gregory? I don't know, Zach, but to me, like, that is something I understand the contacts, 12, 13 years ago were a little tougher, but you would think they would be able to do it now, even with CGI or something like that.
I think they should have done something with that and make them look like ethereal, I would suppose you would say, and really disconnect them from our vision of the Targaryens from Daenerys, because magic is still alive in this world. Dragons are kind of not everywhere, but they're plentiful compared to what we're used to later. And so they should have done that. There should have been more magic. It should have been more visible. And for her, it looked like she was like, maybe because her eyebrows are so dark, it looks like she was wearing a wig to me.
Yeah, a lot of them I felt like were wearing wigs.
Good. Their wigs, they never get the wigs right.
No.
I'm so frustrated with that.
Yeah, very
so
true.
These dragon tamers are actually, I guess, a set of monks. Like they're a group of monks that take care of the dragons using old Valyrian language with the dragons. I never knew that. I don't know if that's new for the show, because I never remember George ever talking about who handled the dragons. But I found that to be kind of interesting, that these guys are actually monks, that their whole devotion is to taking care of dragons.
So, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I could be one of those.
I would do it. Hey, we got 100 people watching. Do you guys know Zach?
Hey.
Zach needs more subscribers, people.
I do. Yeah,
Sure.
check me out. Zach7 on YouTube. You can search me up.
See, there we go. That's how we plug people here. And Mason too. Mason. Though next week I want the time and duration of man butt. Okay, we got Matt Smith's man butt. You didn't give me a time though. All right,
There was approximately 6 seconds of man butt.
Okay, and junk too on top of it. Jeez.
Yeah,
I was pretty crazy with.
Yeah, there's
all that.
With the thing with the City Watch, and that was like on the entire screen.
Yep. That was pretty nuts, the City Watch part.
They should have borrowed Chris Hemsworth for like 5 minutes though for that role.
Yeah, what did you guys think about their hair and stuff? I mean, I know we talked about, but was it obvious? Because I felt like it was obvious they were wigs.
Yeah.
It kind of upset me,
And the little kids too, like the wigs on the kids look ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's especially like, okay, here's the thing. Listen, if you're going to do this with quote unquote black characters, if you can't do their hair, just go somewhere else and hire people. Go to Atlanta, go to Miami. Like, hire people who know what they're doing, because it looked a mess.
It was terrible.
It looked bad.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed for
it was really bad.
I was embarrassed for those children. Like the little boy, I was like, what is up with his hair?
I know.
It was like Medusa. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
I think the worst look was Paddy Considine as Viserys, only because of the stubble. Like, why would you not have him clean shaven at least? Because it's dark
were they
stubble.
were they trying to say something with the stubble?
Maybe.
Like, were they trying to say he doesn't keep himself well? And like, I thought the same thing, man. Like, that dark stubble was not, it it took him out of it. You know what I mean? Stop it. All right, you're back. To the 97 people watching right now, why'd you leave, Mr. Grant Gregory? Why?
Our internet decided that it was going to be all funny.
Oh, okay.
So it kept dropping out. So I went to reset my router, and then by the time I got to the router, I realized that we had no connection. So,
All right.
So I have no idea what you're talking about. Last thing I heard you say was you liked how you could see through the dragon's wing.
Okay, wow, that was a while ago. Okay, so
Flaccid
Phoenix for $5 says, Zach, did you feel represented on screen? Canadians that skip leg day. Oh, wow.
Well, first of all, I don't skip leg day, but second of all, no, there was not enough Canadians on this production at all. I think it would have been better with more Canadians. 100%.
I'm with you, man. Not enough Canadian, representation. All right.
Have you spoken about Alicent yet? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I just showed her, but we haven't brought her up yet. So what do you think?
I was 100% against the casting because I didn't think that she could pull it off. But that last few scenes of her, I'm just like, I got a lot more faith in her now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because she didn't appear to be as the cunning and using her
the Marjorie.
I guess.
The Marjorie.
Yeah, exactly. But I could just that last scene in that with
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah,
okay. I agree with you. Yeah, Mason.
Was I the only one who thought there was like a romance between these two? Because they seemed like oddly close.
Yes, I agree with you. It was like, okay, they're not sisters, but they definitely could be lovers. I thought the same thing. Yeah.
I didn't get that at all.
Where's
I didn't get that at all. They're best friends.
Oh yeah,
Do you
I lay in my
play
best friend's lap.
Yeah.
Is this like when girls have sleepovers and guys think something's happening?
Jane, let us in. Is it? Are there things happening? I always wanted to know. Damn it. Because nothing happened at the guys' sleepover. We swore we wouldn't tell. I love this guy.
First. Yeah.
Oh, that's a longer story.
McTavish, whatever his name is. I love this actor.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal in Preacher.
And look at the armor compared to Ring of Power. Look at that armor. It looks ethereal. It looks spectacular to me.
It looks like it could hold up against a sword.
It looks like he could take a hit. Yeah. Very good point.
But Scott, can we jump back for a second? Because if you and I had a sleepover, we could still spoon, right?
Of course.
Okay.
That's why I'm a spork.
Sweet.
That's why I'm a spork. I spoon them with them all.
Nice.
We
keep Jabba in his hut.
There you go. Abba Waka Wookie. Anyways, so look at that dragon, man. Just look at that. That thing looks real. Like they did an excellent job on this. I have to give it to him. I don't know who they use for their CGI or if they use multiple places, but whoever did the dragons did a phenomenal job. Even with people around the dragon, it still looks real and feels real. I mean, I don't want to, bag on it too much, but She-Hulk, she hugs the Hulk as not She-Hulk. And then he pulls away and she's still holding the hug. Like it was like, you guys got to line that shit up better.
This is amazing.
Amazing. Fantastic.
You can't tell me that's not real.
Yeah. What's up, man? Foul Ball Productions.
It looks practical.
It does. That's a good way of putting it, Jane. It looks practical. Let me know let's get a poll, Mr. Grant Gregory. Did you like the dragon CGI or not? I'd love to see what people thought because I thought it was amazing. Zach, I think you said it was pretty damn good too, right?
I think it's fantastic. It's some of the best CGI I've seen in a while and way better than anything coming out of Disney. Not even close.
Yeah, definitely. We have 96 watching. Thank you guys for being here. Please hit like, subscribe to everybody on the channel, the panel, mostly me, and share it out. Let's get more people in here. So we're going to move on. So we go to the first scene. I want to say, by the way, this is where Cersei built the map. You remember the map in the last seasons? Yeah. This is that courtyard.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, same courtyard, different shade a bit, but it's same courtyard. We get a look at the Red Keep, and if you look on the middle bottom left, kind of not all the way, of like the last tall tower, you could actually see scaffolding, like they're still working on it because they were at the time. I thought that was a very nice touch. Again, the CGI.
Those little details where we see a little prehistory or early history.
I agree. It's amazing.
And I love that they walked us through this again, like through memory lane, essentially.
Yeah. I find it to be more beautiful than in what it was in the original story. Like, I feel like it's a bigger, more imposing castle than you got in Game of Thrones. Like, to me, that's a dominant castle. That is a castle for the King of Kings, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think they've like upgraded their cameras or something. Because like this looks a lot more like clear and pristine than like Game of Thrones, like even in the later seasons. Like there's a jump where they upgraded their cameras in that too. Yeah.
Granted. Oh, Latino Slant becomes a member of Sporking News Now Network, we call it. Thank you, Latino Slant. You are one of the best. We love you. I got to start getting those cutaways like, I'll play this for you. Let me see. I'll play this for you.
And it is a reminder, I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so having said that, I want me some glory hole.
Thank you.
Very Game of Thrones appropriate.
Yeah, very Game of Thrones appropriate. I mean, cowboys, you know, knights, almost the same thing. Don't leave, all you people that are watching for the first time. Glory holes. All right.
I mean, they were just using peepholes.
Yeah, right?
True.
So, again, we have pageantry. We have flags again. I feel like we have... It's a more lived world. I feel like we can actually, like, find this place on the map and go there compared to the original series. I think they did an excellent job with that. And I like how they walk through it to show us what it looks like.
As I said, they did enough of these little sneaky tricks for us to go, just to drag you back in.
Right.
True.
So I know what they're doing. I still fell for it.
Look at the tapestry.
It's nuts. All the tapestry is nuts. Is that someone having
It's like
sex?
Rome.
Yeah. And someone wrote that. Who wrote that? Was that you? Like it was more like the show Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Very
agree.
much so.
So right here we're introduced to her mother, who Emma, right? She is pregnant, very close to giving birth to maybe the next heir of the throne, and they have like discussion about, you know, no one's taking care of you. You could tell that they have a very nice bond, you know, as mother and daughter. What did you guys get from that scene?
I was relieved they aged her up. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because how old she's only like 7, right? And then the mother is only
11 when they get married.
Right. So she's early 20s, you know, having this one. But yeah,
I like the discussion between them here, you know, because I mean, you get from her like she's reminiscent of Arya, right? She would prefer to be out with the boys and be a warrior and all that.
Right.
But I like, and this was a moment where it could have been ultra feminist, modern feminist.
Yes.
But instead, her mom explained to her that there's value in the sacrifice of women, just like there's value in the sacrifice of men. You know, their battlefield is in the birthing bed or something like that.
Yeah, she said something to that effect.
But she basically said, look, don't put down this duty, this responsibility that women have to have children.
Right.
Because it's just as valuable to the realm and to their family as the men who go off to war to protect and defend them.
Yeah.
I loved that whole thing.
Yeah. What did you guys get? Zach, what did you think of this scene with a mother and daughter talking about the importance of being able to birth an heir and their role?
I thought it was important to show their connection because you see her with her dad quite a bit with Viserys because she's the cupbearer and all that. And I thought this was good to show how close the mother and daughter still were.
Yeah.
So I liked it.
Yeah. What about you, Mr. Grant Gregory?
Yeah, no, I think this was their perfect and prime opportunity to intersectionalize the series, and they didn't take it. So I'm happy about that. And the fact of the matter is that she's instilling in her tradition, And I think it's with what happens to her later on is the reason why she wants to buck tradition a little bit more, because she's seen the result. It gives you the perspective of her core values as a daughter to take care of the mother, and understanding that there is a responsibility in that, but wanting to change the rules slightly.
Right.
And I think the relationship between those two, I wish there was a little bit more fleshed out.
Me too.
I think they had a good connection with it, but I just didn't really. It got more that she was more of a mentor than the mother figure.
Right.
If
you needed to see that more of that loving moment. That they needed like one loving moment, mother and daughter, and I think you would have felt more pain when the inevitable comes. Mason, Adam Price asks, is there even a flea bottom in the show yet? So at this time, was there already a flea bottom? I kind of want to say they called it something different, but did they call it like Silk Road or Silver Road or something like that?
I can't remember what they call it, but it's definitely it's still a sort of raunchy,
right? Red light district,
area, yeah.
Okay. Do you know by any chance, Mason? Because you're pretty good with that stuff. Did you catch that? Is there a flea bottom in this time?
That's I don't think they said flea bottom.
Right.
I know that when Daemon goes to the brothel, it's on the Silk Road, something like that.
They did say Silk Road, right? I think I heard the same thing. Okay. I was wondering maybe that's what Flea Bottom being the ghetto area. Morgan Sides. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mason.
I mean, the whole city is kind of free for all, which is why they had to do the gold cloaks. And
that's what we're going to get to next, because that's actually an important point there, man. So does this one episode make Scott forgive Gurm for never finishing the... Why are you even asking me that question? I'm not even going to finish it. Come on, Morgan. You know me better than that. I see your crazy face. You know you're just trying to irk me. Thank you. All right, so they have this beautiful moment, and then we go to our first small council. Okay, and anybody tell me, I can't get it on the exact point. Can anybody tell me the ring and ball significance? Is that something in the history? Because I don't remember any of that. I know it's saying like I'm here and I'm ready to go, but does anybody know exactly what that's about?
Yeah.
I didn't. I was literally going to ask that.
Okay.
Yeah. Why did they put the balls in the holes?
Yeah. Right. So the ball in the hole definitely is telling people I'm here, I'm ready, I'm present, but I don't remember anywhere in the story that meaning anything. This must have been something, Zach, that they took on their own, you know?
Yeah, I've never seen that before. I don't remember that in the book, and it looked like those old arcade tables.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wonder if it was, initially I kind of thought maybe it would be for voting purposes, or sort of like the talking stick, where if your ball was either on or off the thing, you were speaking and other people couldn't interrupt. Like I have no idea, but nothing worked like that. So
no, it didn't, because everybody had it in the ring, you know. So
the only thing I can think of is that maybe it's to do with casting a vote. And like, say for instance, if say for instance, I say to I don't know, someone over here, say I need you to go to the little council in my stead. The only way that they can cast a vote or do anything is by having that orb.
Having the right one?
Having that one. That's maybe it's like your signature. The council will recognize you as a representative of that thing, whether it's the Master of Coin or Whispers or whatever it is that they've got there. That's the only thing I can think of logistically what it is. Otherwise, it's just a pomp and circumstance thing that they did just for the sake of it. Mm-hmm. But they
Space Invaders.
They seem to put a lot of effort and emphasis on putting it in there, because, as I said, they didn't really start talking or anything until they put it in there. Like no official business was in there, or maybe when it's on the table, it's on the record. It could be, I don't know. So
that's a good point.
That's what I got.
That's interesting.
That's a good point.
It could be.
Presumably be someone taking notes.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. We'll go with that. Why not? So we get introduced to the small council. This is where we meet Corlys Velaryon. He is talking like everybody else is talking about, oh, we're going to have a tourney and this and that. He's talking about the alliance of the free cities, which is the triarchy, right? The triarchy, which becomes like it's a big deal for him because he is a trader by ship. The Velaryons are the ocean. The Targaryens are the sky, and by them taking over the Stepstones and getting rid of the pirates could be a good or a bad thing, and no one else seems interested. I thought that was kind of an important moment right there, showing that like he's the only one like really thinking about the important stuff right now. At
well,
least
he's thinking about his wealth being threatened.
Yeah, true. And then we get to meet Otto, Hightower, the Hand of the King. You get to just see what his council is like, what Viserys' council is like, and a lot of it is other people talking, and him just kind of sitting back. You notice that in a couple different ways, like when they're talking about heirs, and they're talking about he doesn't want to make decisions, and that's what I got kind of from this small council.
Yeah, and it seemed like everyone else at the table had their own interests, and that was what they were focused upon. And he was trying to like kind of play peacemaker and maybe get a consensus, but you can't ever do that when everyone's only thinking about themselves.
Right.
He didn't set the agenda. I mean,
True.
you would think as the king, he would be leading the conversation and directing them to give him information instead of the other way around.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally cuts them off from talking about it and like, I want to talk about something fun, again, he wasn't a bad king. He wasn't a great king either. He was, there. And what I was going to bring up before is like Targaryen succession has always had an issue. So you go from Aegon to Aenys Targaryen, which was the eldest son of Aegon and his younger sister, I want to believe. And then when he dies, he has an heir, but Maegor takes the crown, who is also one of Aegon's sons. So right there, boom, blows out the whole idea of the eldest, heir being the next in line. Mm-hmm. And then when Maegor dies on the throne, one of the first to get cut by the throne or murdered on it, we don't know. The old King Jaehaerys wasn't next in line, but he landed his dragon in Old Town and was like, you guys are going to swear me in. And they were like, okay, let's do this. So like there has never really been, except for Aegon to Aenys, and even then there was some animosity. It was never smooth. So for them to make it seem like, in the book, they try to make it seem like the Council of 101 was this first time event. It was just because, again, there was a decision between a female and a male. So that can come into this story. I just like how they haven't shoved that down our throats. I don't know about you guys, but I'm glad it hasn't gone that route yet.
I thought they might do that with the mother-daughter talk, but they didn't. So I was happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they do lean more into that too, because that it shows the other side of it. So from the women's immediate present perspective, it may be based on gender, but you can see through this history that there's so much more at play, that a tradition hasn't been fully established. There isn't really a precedent for anything in particular. And so it's their gender isn't the only reason why they were getting passed over, because there was nothing to necessarily suggest that they couldn't be queen.
Right.
Except that different factions aligned and one faction was more powerful than the other.
Right. What, anybody else on that one? All right. So we are going to move on a little bit. So they have their council. They talk about, what the Stepstones could become. And
one more quick thing.
Go ahead. Please.
Corlys reminds me of the Blackfish.
Okay. I'm glad.
Ironically.
No, but I'm glad you said something, because do you feel the comparisons between different, Rhaenyra, she reminds me of, Arya, and Alicent is Sansa. Like you get that from a couple different, players. Did you guys get that too?
Yeah, I did. Especially Sansa. I did.
Yeah. Yep, definitely have that Sansa vibe and that Arya vibe. Mason?
I got very like Tywin Lannister vibes from Otto Hightower.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he is that guy. So George is known for, the past repeating itself, and definitely with his characters. Otto is definitely your Tywin Lannister of this world.
But he's not as fierce to me.
Not
He's
yet,
not
at least.
Scary,
Yeah.
And he should be. I almost feel like because he's being set up as like the antagonist to Daemon. I feel like he should match Daemon to some degree, and he really doesn't. He cowers a little bit, and I can't imagine Tywin ever backing down to anyone.
Right.
So it's kind of, I don't know yet about him.
I think
Mike,
with Otto,
yeah, go ahead, buddy.
with Otto Hightower, it's manufactured power. So all the power he has wasn't given to him. He had to take it, and so I think there's only so much weight he can throw around.
Littlefinger, yeah.
Yeah, exactly like that. Yes, a lot like that.
Well, he was like a second son, so he had to create his own, name. He wasn't, the next heir. So you have a valid point. I feel like the prostitute Daemon goes to is kind of a mix of the Littlefinger, Missandria, or whatever her name is.
I think she's supposed to be like the
Misery.
Varys
Oh,
of the story.
okay. Maybe that's why I got the Littlefinger kind of. But yeah, I can see that, like the Varys.
Because she
I
has
think,
Master
her-
of Whispers.
yeah, she's essentially
I think-
that. Yeah.
And
What's his
and
name?
like Barry, she doesn't have a
Strong.
penis either.
Yeah, Mason, what were you gonna say?
I think I'm forgetting his name. The strong guy on the council is the Master
yeah.
of Whispers.
Yep. He is. Well, the last name is Strong. I forget his first name.
Yeah.
There was something said, and I wrote it down, and I didn't give myself enough notes, so I forgot exactly what I meant by this. But at some point, the Maester, I think he's talking about Daemon and the gold cloaks and all this stuff, and he says that it was done by design, and it was almost like it implied that by design they were trying to pin Targaryen versus Targaryen, like the Maester conspiracy type thing. And he made a comment by design, and it stuck in my head, but I forgot to write down like the exact wording of what he said. Did anybody else catch that?
Yeah, he said something like, "We need to secure your heir should something happen to you, either by accident or by design."
That was
and
it.
kind of lingered, and he's like, "What do you mean by design?"
Right. Like his brother would have him murdered or something like
Yeah.
Which he knows would never happen.
that. Right. But the Maester's putting it out there so it gets into people's ears, because I believe in the Maester theory, conspiracy. They definitely had something to do
Absolutely.
with the downfall of the Targaryens.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I thought that was
100%.
kind of cool.
I also on that point, I also took it as I know what's wrong with your back. I know what's going on with that. And he's going to say it's by design of the gods that that this happened, or maybe it's his subtle way of going, well, you know what, I can control you. Whether because I thought it was grayscale, whatever that thing was at first, but I wasn't 100% certain. What it
Oh,
was.
on his back?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
exactly-
cut. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like I definitely think there's out of everyone that's there, the Maesters seem the shiftest.
Yeah.
And then he trusts him at the end with the childbirth. And really, I never thought about that until watching it through a second time with the Maesters and thinking, well, did that baby really die naturally?
Right.
Would that-
Or was the baby really breached? Like,
Right. Yes. Yeah.
I thought the same thing, man. Like, were they actually, because they thought it was going to be a boy, killing the mother and child?
Yeah.
It could be, because the Maester, I'm telling you, we all agree there is a conspiracy.
I absolutely believe that they were conspiring to bring down the Targaryens because of their limitless power.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also still blame the Targaryens because all of these conflicts could have been solved with marriage.
Right. Yes. Absolutely.
Every last one.
Yep. Go ahead,
I-
Mason.
I think it was in the beginning, and Jaehaerys said something about like having a weak person on the throne would only bring about the divide, and this
Yeah.
could be them like further weakening the king.
Right. Right. So we move on to the next scene, right? And that was
This scene
This scene was it. This scene was.
Oh yeah.
It was something. I'm gonna say it was something. I want to hear what you guys have to think. So you walk in. Damon is sitting on the Iron Throne. I mean, again, the gold cloak was like just taken back by it. I think he wanted to kill him. And Rhaenyra just waved him off. And you have this weird. I don't know. What do you got? I'm gonna leave it at that. What do you guys explain this scene to me, because I found it to be a little creepy.
It was.
What, you've never courted your niece before?
I mean, let's keep in mind these are Targaryens. These
Yes.
two probably could be married.
Easily, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I
I
don't
think
know.
that's what was being set up. I think he was basically flirting with his niece. Because
Well-
he does give her a ton of gifts and stuff. That's like a thing. And
Just the way he does it, though, is so creepy, Uncle.
because
Yeah.
he knows that this could put. Look, I look at it this way too for him. He knows if the king does have a son,
Yeah.
right, he could lose his position.
Yep.
How do you maintain your future as royalty at this point? It's like you're going to continue to get pushed to the side unless you marry back into one of the main lines of the family.
Right.
Hedge your
And-
bets.
There you go.
Yep. I mean, that would have solved everything if he married her first. But he's married right now to a Aaron, and he is not happy.
He can get rid of her at any moment.
Is she an Aaron or is she a Roy? She's an Aaron, right?
I think she's an Aaron because they always talk about them being ugly.
Yeah.
So, was that his wife at the end of the episode?
No, I don't remember seeing.
Oh, on the dragon with him. No, that was
No.
Misery.
Misery. That was the Missandria or whatever her name is of this show / Varys. Mavarys is her name now.
Oh no, Maveries.
Yeah.
I thought
Yes.
the throne looked amazing in this scene. It looked way better than it did in Game of Thrones. The entrance was perfect, and then Matt Smith was excellent in this. But then you're right, it's very incestuous,
Okay.
especially with the turnaround thing.
That right here. Turn
Correct. It was
around.
a Royce. It was a Royce. Not an
It was a
Aaron.
Royce. Okay.
Is the throne in the same spot? Because I don't ever remember to the left hand side there being like a hallway behind the throne, but there is in this.
Yep.
In this
Yeah,
one.
that's where the small council is.
Yeah,
Right.
I think there's a door in this one.
Okay. Because
Or in the main story.
It looked, there was something that I couldn't pick. I liked that they couldn't do the traditional style, how it was like a staircase of swords, but I really liked that one because that stops anyone but the king being up there.
Yeah, I got to say, they did what they could with the throne because of the design of the old throne.
Yeah.
So, because of the design of the Game of Thrones throne, they couldn't just build it up another 30, 40 feet in the air. It would look really weird. So what they did is instead of, doing that, they went down the stairs with like melted bent swords and swords sticking up. I think they did a decent job with that. When I first saw it, I definitely did not like it, but it wasn't bad looking once you see it in the show.
I
As
still
I
don't
said,
like
what it symbolizes, like, because we know the throne, and you have people standing next to the king, basically standing on his same level. You can't do that with this throne. Whoever's there
No.
is clearly above everyone else.
Right.
So I like that idea of it.
And that comes up
Yeah.
later with Daemon and the king.
Yep. What?
I mean,
Wait a minute. Say it again. What comes up later?
That the different level where he can't, like,
Oh,
Daemon
right.
tries to walk towards his brother and he can't because there's only that narrow lane where he can go through there, and the Kingsguard are there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually a more protective spot for the king, if you really think about it. Mason, you were going to say something?
yeah, I mean, I kind of like this throne. It looks pretty cool, but like if they really wanted to like take a step back from the Game of Thrones show, they
Mhm.
could have just like made it a little bigger. Like you don't have to make it too big
Right.
in case you want to walk it back and say, oh no, it's kind of connected. Like just make it go up another like level. Like make it just a little bit bigger.
I'm with you. Maybe, yeah, because I'm saying it's okay. It's better than what I thought it was going to be, but I still rather have the monstrosity. So even if they lifted it up, I think you're right. Lifted it up a level or two higher to show you that, I don't know, but they couldn't be, I don't know. Jane, help me with this one. I don't know. They couldn't do it because the original throne in the other show was so little. I guess.
I disagree. I think they could have done it. I think
You think so?
There are real world reasons why they chose not to do it. But in
Yeah.
the show, they absolutely could have built it higher.
How would you explain them making it then smaller for the Baratheons? They chopped it down?
Well,
Like,
I
that's-
think it could be just over time. The kings changed it to suit whatever they wanted it to be. It was their throne.
Right.
Yeah,
But-
maybe there was one that was deaf and had to
Because, I
get
mean-
closer to the ground.
But they've removed. I mean, if we buy this, then we
Right.
have to accept that they removed all of those other swords from around it, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So there could have been more than that, leading all the way to the top.
Valid point. You know what they also have more of in the South? I guess weirwood trees now, because there's one in the Godswood. I mean, there's the face right there. And if we're gonna stay book accurate, they didn't have there was a heart tree, but there was not a weirwood tree in King's Landing or anywhere really south of the Neck, I believe. That pissed me off. I'm sorry. It's something that angered me when I saw it.
Could it be that they hadn't chopped them all down yet?
Already happened.
Um,
I want to say it
Yeah,
happened closer to Maegor's time or even before that.
I thought they chopped them all down, like when the
Oh, the Andals came over, right?
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It was
Oh,
way
okay,
before.
okay.
The Andals started chopping them all down when they came across the Armor Dorn. So, yeah, there was none left south of the Neck. And this one is a monster of a tree. It's gorgeous, the way they came through the leaves and everything. I thought that was really interesting. But then you see that face, and it's just like, hey, Zach, it kind of looks like you, that face. Holy crap. Oh, my God.
It's a handsome tree for
It
sure.
is.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit. That is so weird.
Yeah. What did you tell
disturbing.
us you were an extra?
Yeah, I know.
Busted.
Your big role as a tree.
You're the tree.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks.
You're like the kid in the kindergarten, role of Game of Thrones. You're a weirwood. Yay.
Yep.
So this is where we get just girlfriends hanging out, heads
Totally
in
normal.
laps. Totally
Whatever.
normal. No flirting
Totally
at all.
heteronormative.
Yes. No flirting at all. No whatever. I got a little vibe, but I could see why others did not, but got a little vibe. Vibe of loving.
Can we get a poll
have
going?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have your boys over to watch football, and you guys snuggle up on the couch like that, don't you, Scott?
I mean, always. Actually, always.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember.
girl.
I mean, if there's only one jersey, we both have to wear it. I mean,
Yeah.
That's right.
this is not a lesbian thing.
Stop being sexist,
I think
Jane.
this is y'all's imagination running wild.
Maybe a little bit.
Probably.
Maybe
Okay.
a little
So I haven't talked about this with a lot of people, but it seems like all the boys I've talked to think that there's something a little sussy about this.
Yeah,
And all
yeah.
the girls are like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. It's definitely a guy thing where we're like, okay, I could see it. I could see some loving. But this is the scene where you're going to see they're more than just acquaintances, they're friends to build up the tension for later seasons. Which they're saying this is only going to go 3 to 4 seasons. And if it's a hit, they will do different Targaryen moments in time. So maybe they'll do Aegon's Conquest next, or, the Blackfyre Rebellion. So I find that to be more exciting than this being like a 10-season thing about the Civil War, I don't know if anybody else would look forward to that. I know I do.
I like the anthology idea you brought up, and I've heard that too, and I think that's much better than just dragging this out as long as possible.
Right. Right. Because we see what happens when that happens.
Yeah.
It has white bark with 5 point. Yeah. What? Yes, it does. But it is no longer south of the Neck. That is a definite. The heart tree is just could be a weirwood, but not. Okay. All weirwood trees are heart trees, but not all heart trees are weirwood. I don't know if that's definite, but it sounded pretty good in my head.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it
Wait,
does.
So I think I remember something about in the A Song of Ice and Fire, like present day, that they had taken some weirwoods and planted them in the big cities.
Mhm.
Like Sansa goes to the Godswood in what was it? In the books. She goes there in dang it, I'm blanking on the
It's all right,
she
man.
goes to the Godswood several times throughout
Mhm.
the series in King's Landing.
Right.
So
Yeah,
is
she
there
does
a
it in
way
the High Garden area.
Okay, I just got to say I love this name, Nitpicker, and he's definitely nitpicking us. We did talk about that. The exposition was a cop-out. It was an easy way for them to throw all information at you and say go. Back to what you were saying, though, Mason. Let's say it one more time.
So, is there a storyline where they have like replanted the weirwoods? Because I think I remember something about a weirwood being in the Godswood in King's Landing. Am I making that up?
No, there's not a weirwood. There's a heart tree, but it's not
Okay.
a weirwood tree, and this is incorrect. The heart trees, yes, are weirwoods most of the time, but a lot of different Godswoods south of the neck do not have weirwood trees. So they use like an oak tree or another big tree as their heart tree, which is like where you would pray to the old gods. But north of the neck, that's where you have weirwoods. I believe there was maybe one scrawny one south of the neck, but I can't pinpoint exactly where that would be. I could say though, thank you. We have 93 likes. If you're new to the to Sporking News Network, please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to everybody on the channel, mostly me, and come back. But subscribe before you realize you don't like it, because it's
Right
free.
away. Don't think.
Right away. Don't think, just subscribe. Now, did you get any tension between these two, or was it just good old friends laying in each other's laps?
I definitely think this is the calm before the storm. I definitely think this is showing that they were close at one stage.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe friends with benefits?
Nice.
What benefits?
Sexy time?
They're also
think-
minors.
Oh, Jane, don't ruin it. It's medieval.
Oh,
That is
tax
sick.
benefits,
Yeah.
dependents.
Nowadays, you
Write-offs.
can't stop them. Yeah, I'm all about it. All right, so now you get to the point with the back, which we were talking about a little earlier. So you get like this nasty thing on his back. He got a small cut from sitting on the throne. Now, after Viserys, legend has it that being cut by the throne shows you are not worthy of being a king. You can't sit the Iron Throne without getting cut from it, then you're not worthy. So Maegor died on the throne. Some say the throne killed him. Most likely was murdered on the throne. Maegor gets cut. They used to call the Mad King the King of Scabs or something like that, because he was cut all the time. So it goes to show you kind of the weakness of a king. And his is pretty nasty that it's like, it doesn't get like, it won't heal. So they want to cauterize it. What do you guys think?
Well, they say it won't heal. I think it's
They
because
say
they're
it
not letting
won't.
it heal.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you thought the maesters were like putting something in there to make sure it didn't heal.
That's, again, I didn't think about that, but you have a valid point.
Well, I mean, the same thing happened with
And then if they
Drogo.
cauterize the wound,
He got
then
cut,
that's
and
like
they
burning
they
a
put stuff
dragon.
in it, poisoned him.
Oh yeah, the Mr. Grant Gregory, you're right. The Drago or Dracarys, Drago. What was it? Drogo. Drogo got the cut,
Aquaman.
and and you know it. She knew he wouldn't follow the rules, and he died from that one cut. This is kind of this thing is pussy. And again, Mason was right. They planned on cauterizing it. Zach, what do you think that they had something to do with it, or is this kind of just showing what the throne is doing to him?
I think there's a lot of parallels with that storyline with Khal Drogo in this episode, especially there's the baby involved. There's the cut that doesn't heal, and for this, the cauterizing. So that would work on a Targaryen. Fine, is that right?
What's
Would
that?
No,
Yeah,
I don't
burning
think
them?
That's the
Yeah.
big thing. I didn't. Not only that, that's going to lock the. If all that's going to do is seal the skin, it's going to keep the poison and the pus and everything inside the body.
Yeah, that's true. If he's being poisoned,
Well, there is a question
Yeah.
of whether he burns. Doesn't he put his hand on fire or something in this episode?
He does.
that pissed me off too. Like you could hear his hand crisping on the candles, but yeah, he's not getting burned. George definitely said that Dany, that was a special like moment in time. It was blood magic. They are heat resistant, but they aren't fireproof. You know, like
Well, the other Viserys wasn't he
Yeah.
resistant?
Yeah, he wasn't.
I do
Wasn't
love
a real dragon.
he wasn't. Yeah, exactly. I love Stig. Funny how the Targs are afraid of the upcoming winter that will last about a week. Because it all leads to Game of Thrones season 8. George finished the books.
And by the way, this is George's story. So if he's creating inconsistencies again, which is not unusual for him, but tell us, George, are they immune to fire or aren't they?
Yeah.
It's a definite maybe.
No, they're not immune to fire. He did state that, but maybe he didn't state it through the writing. So like he said it in an interview, but he never stated it through the writing, which is more important to me. Like, are they fireproof? Are they fire resistant?
Does it take more fire to burn them? Maybe
Yeah, I mean,
prolonged fire. I don't know.
do they have a
Dragon
temperature?
fire.
Right? Do they have a temperature at 101, or is that their normal temperature? I don't know.
Actually, that would make a lot of sense to have a higher body temperature because they're also like resistant to a lot of diseases, right?
Right.
Good point.
Yep. That's definitely a valid point, man. So now he's with his wife in the bath. You can tell she's in a lot of pain. She's actually the prettiest Targaryen we got.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. Bar none. She looks more Targaryen, beat down, pregnant, sweating than any of the other ones.
I was going to say, Alicent looks more Targaryen.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. Like she, well, her face. She has a very pretty face.
Yeah, this scene was another one where they could have gone like full on woke and made the king just be like an absolute jerk.
Right, heartless.
But they don't. They show how much like he actually does care for his wife and his unborn baby.
Yeah. Yeah. He says they're like the one, I'm sorry, jump away, but Stig, he does say like the one that drinks wildfire dies. They do die of fire, so I guess you're right. He did in his own way show us that they're not fireproof. Danny's just being a special moment in time. Thank you.
Can I just pose a question here? Do you think that he would have gone through the procedure to cut the baby out later on if she didn't have this conversation with him earlier when she said this will be the last?
Ooh. Yeah, because that's what she tells him. She says, look, she's had what, 2 stillbirths, one died in the, like 5 kids altogether.
She said 5 kids over 10 years.
Yeah.
So because I know that the show's leaning very heavily on actions versus consequences, and essentially every downfall happened because of something within, whether it's within the family, within their own choices. Because it was Viserys' own ambition that ended up killing both his wife and child in this. But also at the same time, she was the one who put that idea in his head. She didn't do that. What do you think that he still would have gone through with that procedure? That
is a valid question.
Did he have a choice though? Really?
Well,
no,
he didn't. So. He didn't. And I think the way the Maester put it.
But his nature and the way that he is, he's the wait and see king. That's what he would not have made that choice normally. That's what I'm saying.
Well, in that moment, do you see him? He's looking everywhere.
There's a time limit.
Yeah.
Well, he got told.
You have to decide now. This is the moment where we have to know what you want to do.
Yeah. Mason?
The Maester specifically said, pick one or we're going to lose both. Meaning, like, if you don't save the baby, it's going to kill them both.
Yeah, she's definitely, like, pretty much they laid it out. She's a goner no matter what.
No, but that's not what he said. He said pick one. So you either pick your wife or you pick your child, or they will both die. That's what it means. Otherwise, he said one.
It wasn't a choice.
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. He said pick one, meaning both die or just the wife. That's what he was saying. It wasn't pick one, the wife or the child.
That's how I took it.
I took it as pick one, they both die, and we try to like give a natural birth, or we cut into her, she definitely dies, and the baby will live. That's what I got from that scene later on.
Asterisk for a day.
Yeah. We'll get into that, but yeah, that's a valid point. She did tell him though, like he was looking for anyone but, to answer it for him. And he finally had to make a decision, and no matter what he chose, it was bad. So, that's a shitty scene altogether. But this scene, now we got Daemon taking over the Night's Watch, explaining, letting everybody know that they were a crappy little group of, guards, and now they're 2,000 strong fighting machine, and they're going to go out and exact justice, even though, I don't know if you guys got this, but it felt like he just pointed and was like, "Grapist," and you stole stuff, and
that's what I was thinking. I think that's designed purely. These were just sacrifices, so everyone else around would be like, "Oh, I didn't know Steve was a rapist."
Yeah. I got that too.
I think it was terror campaign.
Yeah, it was all immediate. They were just running down alleys, grabbing whoever they could, and then accusing them of something and serving out a punishment. I don't think there's any way they could have had that be organized. And they could have tried to make it look that way, but in reality, there's no way that was organized. And then when he executes that guy, that was a weird scene because it didn't line up properly with those guys holding him, and then him
coming
that
down
big sword. I don't know how that would work.
He killed everybody.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
I think it was very rushed, but I think they did know who they were going after.
You think? It was just the dude would walk around and point and be like, that guy stole something.
Unless they were already corralled there as criminals. That's the only other thing. That I could think, and because there was a guy that was going around pointing at different people, so I'm assuming he's the one who arrested them or did that, because they didn't look like they weren't after or anything. They were all just sitting around waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could very well be that's where they were being held.
They could have either been taken off to jail or punished immediately on the street.
Yeah, Mason.
Yeah. So I think best case scenario, they targeted a specific area full of people that were criminals and just kind of let them loose to get as many of them as they could. But there was almost certainly innocents in the crowd.
Yeah.
But they got specific punishments though. The thieves got their hands cut off or whatever.
Right.
It was very narrowly tailored to the thing that they were accused of having done.
Right. So I think it was supposed to show us the chaotic moments, but they were corralled. Those people were there waiting, so those people were caught. Probably these Night's Watch knew that these people were already doing this ahead of time, because it's been going on. So no one screamed I'm innocent, no one fought back saying I didn't do this. Everyone just seemed oh shit, I'm about to get it's coming. So
Boosh is explaining it too in the chat.
Yeah. Wait a minute. They rounded up the criminals. They didn't take people randomly. These were criminals. It was a public display. Yeah, he's right. Oops. Wait a minute.
Who rounded them up though?
The Night's Watch, I guess.
Before Daemon arrived, I think they had already gotten them together.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I like this scene. It shows his brutality. It shows he's
gold cloaks,
he's definitely, those gold cloaks are they are his people, his men, and they will do what they're told to do. So he has a small army of 2,000, and that's brought up later on too.
They love him. They're loyal to him.
Yep. And here we are. They're talking about what happened, that he should be punished for it.
He's such a snitch. That's why I can't stand him.
Otto is a
Every
snitch.
time you see Otto, he's running to the king. Hey, your brother just did this.
And then he talks about his wife though. Daemon's well, maybe you should your wife died, maybe you should get a new one type shit. These two hate each other, and you could see that. You could definitely see that. That was badass.
The king was funny too. He was I don't even know why you know my brother's gonna go after you.
Right.
You know he's gonna drag you.
Yep. That was a great part too. He's just I'm not gonna say sorry for him. You're an idiot for trying to talk to him like that. Mm-hmm. That was good.
I love that scene.
That was a good scene. Anybody else on that?
Great. He was great. Masculine was great in that scene he didn't have to do much. He doesn't ever have to do much, it seems like.
It's his looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just sitting there smirking, and he's they all think I did something bad, but I just restored order. And he's
calculated,
He was
right?
proud of what he did.
Zach,
Yeah,
do
there
you
was-
think
there
he's
was
a
definitely
calculated?
pride.
Yeah, but Zach, do you think he's a calculated? Like he knew what he did was going to raise some eyebrows on the small council, but he did it anyways. To me, that was a calculated move.
I think 100% because they show us that
He
too
was there
because he's
first.
waiting there already. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
waiting for them. He knew
Yep.
for sure. And I think that plays into it because he knew it was going to happen. He knew that they were going to come after him in that small council meeting too, and he was ready for it.
Yeah, valid.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the first you get to see of them trying to play the Game of Thrones in this, because as we learn later, he's vying for the spot of the hand,
Right.
and he's trying to show like how good he is at any job he gets.
Yeah.
He does it well. He does it well. You got to give him that.
He the one thing I've got to say about his performance with everything, he's very believable. When he says something, I believe that's what he means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that when he's talking with his brother and everything, he's like, I restored. He truly believes in his heart that's what he did.
I got to skip that scene altogether.
What?
Yeah.
Why? What happened?
No, brothel. There was no boobs or anything. There was just a position.
I think it was. We can talk about it though. Like
Yeah,
that was-
let's do that. It's
it
important.
was- This is where we first see him with whatever her name is.
What the hell is her name?
Miseria.
They call her Lady Misery.
They do call her Misery.
Okay, so we'll just call her Misery. All right, so
Yeah.
Misery.
I just call her the girlfriend.
Yeah.
And he's clearly stressed out. He's going, like I said before, he's going through some stuff. This is why he's acting out too.
Yeah.
And she basically comforts him. You see that the relationship is an actual relationship. And I like that. I like
Right.
that you see his vulnerability in this. Because everywhere else, and with everyone else, there's
Everyone.
this wall
Yeah.
of pure fierceness. And it
Yeah.
comes down with her. I
Yeah.
thought it was sweet.
I like how he
Yeah.
threw the towel, the thing over his head. He was just complete shame. He's
He's like, I can't
"Oh."
finish. I can't
He's like, I
finish.
shouldn't have had that extra wine. I got whiskey dick. Oh.
Something.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mason.
Well, and then he the Misery lady says like, "Do you want me to find you a girl with silver hair?"
Yeah.
Mhm.
You want to have sex with
Yes.
your sister lookalike? You know, something like that. It's weird. Zach.
She's down.
We get someone to come in and call
Little
you
known
uncle.
fact: it was filmed in Alabama.
Yeah, something like that. If you're from Alabama, we love you. Zach, let me ask you this question. We meet the Misery, Lady Misery. Now, in the book, she's a dancer. Okay, so here they make her straight out madam, prostitute,
Yeah, I was
something.
gonna say, is she the model
I think-
or the owner or anything? 'Cause she
I think
seems to
she's the
be-
madam.
Yeah.
But you do get to see this connection between her and Damon that we're going to know goes forward and has a lot more to do with the story. Did you like the scene? Did you feel the vulnerability with him? Did you feel that connection? Because
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know.
people are watching, and you can see that he can't finish. And you look at him for a second. It looks like he's going to do something, and you think back to Joffrey and something Joffrey would do when
Yes.
he's in that situation. And he leans forward like he's going to be angry, and then he walks away, and that's how you can tell there's trust there, there's a real relationship there, and there's vulnerability from him to her.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And
you
it
see that
doesn't hurt
connection.
she's smoking as well. Like she's
Yeah.
legitimately one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen.
She is an attractive young lady. And we get Matt Smith Butt at the 25.3, I believe, minute.
And as he turns around, also a bit of a dangle between the legs when his legs are
Yeah.
a bit askew.
little more than I thought. Little more than I thought we were
You,
going to
you,
see.
you see the tip of the sonic screwdriver. So
So we get now to the name, or I don't know if you want to call it a name date. No, a birthing ceremony. I don't know. It's though they're having this tournament on behalf of the upcoming heir to the throne,
Yeah.
and a lot goes on here, guys. A lot. You have, Damon coming in and choosing the Hightower's eldest son for a battle. You have people killing each other at a tourney, and it seems like no one has an issue with it, even though these are like major houses.
these are noblemen as well. That's the only thing I thought was a bit weird. I enjoyed the action. I love the fact that the flag bearer threw up everywhere. I was like, yeah, that'd be my reaction to seeing that right in front of me. Like,
Yeah.
it shows that it's probably not a normal thing that happened.
Right.
But yeah, the brutality of it was over the top to just go, yes, this is the same world that it was before.
Right. Zach, what did you think about the tourney?
I thought that the melee itself was. I was surprised by that it was to the death, and that these are supposed to be nobles' children. It seemed like,
Yeah,
and they should, but maybe it wasn't. But they didn't establish it wasn't, and they made it seem like from the list, from the jousting, that it was, and they were just. I mean, these guys were all dead.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
that was a question I had, Mason. Like they made it seem like you had to, like it was live or let live type, or live or die type thing. What do you think?
So historically, tournaments like this were they never had any like one set of rules. It was basically whoever was having it just made up their own rules.
Mm-hmm.
I did think it was kind of weird that they were killing a lot of people.
Yeah.
How many people died? Was it?
I want to say 3. So the Hightower kid didn't die, but his face was all mangled. You got one dude who got an axe to the face, another dude who got bludgeoned. Maybe 2 died, I would say.
So the guy that pulled the axe out and started attacking people, wasn't he the one that got the axe to the face though? Wasn't that I looked at that as the guards getting him back for essentially breaking the rules. But
Right.
they wouldn't do that with the prince because it's the prince.
But
Yeah,
it's
I
kind of. I think you're right. I think
Maybe.
the fight started and people got killed because people weren't playing fair.
Right.
That's the sense I got. It wasn't just sort of a random thing.
Oh, see, I thought it was some
Yeah.
guy got mad he lost type thing.
I thought so.
Yeah, but
too.
he was the one that got his
Oh.
face destroyed. The one
Yeah.
that attacked the guy afterwards.
Yeah.
They
I-
did have the line about these are all green men who've never
Yes.
seen war.
But, like with their balls full of seed, and they've
Yeah.
never seen actual war. And that was from the queen who never was, Rhaenys Targaryen, who I found it interesting that the Baratheon wanted her favor. So
She's half Baratheon.
right. So you
Yeah.
got that, like, we're backing you, and I'm gonna say this out loud. And that to me is a slight to the king.
It
And he
was.
he waved it off,
Which he shouldn't have, but
Right.
yeah.
So according to the actual wiki for the TV series, Corlys is also Baratheon. His mother was
What?
Baratheon, according to the wiki for it.
Oh, I thought we didn't know what his
No,
mother
in
looked
the
like.
in the books, no, but the TV wiki says that
So-
his mother was
Okay,
was Baratheon.
time the
Let's
frig
pause
out.
Yeah.
a moment.
Time the freak out.
What
So-
says this?
Yes, please
Yeah, I'll
share
see if
it.
I can find it again because I was looking
Share
at it last night afterwards.
If this is the actual HBO's like wiki for this show, and they have him as a Valerian and a Baratheon, but yet he is a dark-skinned Baratheon, I guess, Valerian, that is wrong. I
Yeah,
mean,
that doesn't make any sense.
that makes no sense. His mother should be from like the Summer Isles or something like
Yeah.
that.
I think for the tournament itself and how strange it was to watch, we're reading off the reactions of the people watching, and they weren't reacting to any of it. It didn't seem like. So
Thank
they're
you.
like, "Is this normal?"
I
There's
think
like
if you go back further in history too, sort of like what was being said earlier, it was a more brutal time. Like this is gladiator games level
Yeah.
stuff. Like, so maybe the audience was used to.
I don't know, man. The girls were just like, they didn't even like shy away from it. They're like, oh, his face just got axed. Yay. It was weird. It was kind of weird. I think, Zach, you put it perfectly. It was like a disconnect from the box to like the ground level. Like it almost seemed like maybe that was meant to happen, like to show that they really just don't care what's happening to these people. It's all Coliseum type stuff,
Maybe.
I don't know. That was a good
Yeah.
point, man.
Yeah. I think there was like one line that was like the first blood of the day is spilt or something like that from it was either Rhaenyra or shoot.
It doesn't
I
matter,
don't
but you're right.
remember.
You're right. They make it seem so nonchalant. I do
One
like
more-
this. Yeah, go ahead.
Another thing too is Rhaenys kind of reminded me of Caitlyn too in this because she's always calling people green and seems kind of bitter for whatever reason.
Oh my God, yeah. You can't really see them clear, but the two children up front with their messed up hairdos.
Terrible wigs.
I mean,
Yeah.
one looks like a powdered wig from like 1776.
It does. It does.
It
You
was
know?
so bad.
It's so bad. So bad. Like, I felt so sorry for those children. I'm like, oh, Dad, it's my big break on Game of Thrones show. And it's like, what are you wearing? Oh, it's terrible.
It's awful.
It is. It is. So Damon comes out and he picks out his opponent, and he picks the Otto Hightower's eldest son
course.
and messes that boy up by tripping his horse. And again, no one responds in a way like you cheated. It was just like shucks, your kid got, bludgeoned almost to death by the ground. Like his face is all messed up. Again, Zach, I think you're right. There's a weird disconnect that I felt like they missed something, or they were trying to show us something and I just didn't get it.
If they're trying to show us, I didn't catch it either, because it looked like the audience wasn't reacting to what they were seeing at all. It didn't seem like, and I'm used to going back to like Spartacus shows like that, where the audience reaction was always part of the show.
Yes.
And this was just like, they're just sitting talking about something else.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. What did you guys think of the chat? Let us know. We got about 80 people watching right now. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to my panelists. And really, if you're new here, please subscribe and keep coming back. We'll be doing this weekly, 8 p.m. Eastern, every Monday night. We might have some special guests if he ever shows up, and other people too. And it should be good. Should be good.
I wonder if people were afraid too, because I mean, these, like you said, this is Targaryens at their peak power.
Yeah.
Everybody knows and has seen all of their dragons.
Yep.
But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, true.
You're gonna interrupt the tourney and demand something? Really?
You're right.
Well, I could see Damon getting away with anything, but like the idea that like random different houses are murdering each other, that could start like civil wars all over the country. That's the part that kind of got me like, oh, you just killed a guy from the north. Now we want to fight you. I don't know.
Are you gonna fight us, or we're gonna swing around with the dragon real quick?
And I get that, but not the Targaryens. I'm talking like.
No.
But I mean, even any type of disorder.
I guess you have
You're
a
gonna
point.
complain about the king's tourney and what happened there?
Mm.
I mean, you might, but I would feel uncomfortable.
I think it's supposed to be they fight till they yield. But
I guess
if
an
you
axe in
don't
your
yield,
face is a good
there-
yield.
if you're not going to yield, there's only one thing you can do to.
Yeah.
If your kid's
Right.
supposed to go in that tournament, you might pull a hammy, I think.
Absolute hammy, Paul.
Yeah. Sit this one out, kid.
I'm with you on that, man. So Damon comes out. He picks the Hightower dude, crushes him. Where is that? Right around here somewhere. The dude's face is just smashed.
I thought he was dead.
I did too
Yeah,
at
me
first.
too.
And he's not dead. I don't know. Like some reactions, you finally get a real reaction. But Otto Hightower's just like, crap. Like the kid has an interesting armor with like the tower on top of his, like almost like a crown. I thought George got what he wanted with the different, pageantry. People's armor representing their house. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So then you get Dame. Oh, here we go.
Brian mentioned Duck and Egg. There was a night where there was like a brutal.
Oh, a
predator
mystery
thing.
night, right? Oh, wait a minute. Say that again.
Remember at the tourney, something happened and someone got killed.
I think if I remember what happened,
That
is
was
the
an
guy
accident.
Actually, he killed the
okay.
horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then with Dunk and Egg too, that was a 7-on-7 melee where
That's right.
yeah, the king one of the king to be got his head bludgeoned by his own brother and died. That was a part of that. Wow, I can't get to so this is him getting pretty much crushed by his horse. No big whoop. Just your air. No big deal. And then Damon asks after he does that to the son, he asks for the daughter's favor. And you could see
Damon does not care.
Dude, you could see the fear in her eyes when she sees her dad, though. Like, I have to say, Alicent Hightower plays it well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's well done.
That was funny.
So then you get the fight between
That's what I'm
Damon.
saying, like, just he can instill that fear with just that look.
Yep.
He doesn't say anything. He doesn't move his face. He just looks at her. In that moment, you're like, oh, you're in a rock and a hard place now.
Yeah, you got to do it.
You've got to do it. You can't not do it.
Yep. What do you guys think about the birthing scene?
Oh, yeah, I was eating pasta at the time. It was it was an experience.
Oh, that's nasty. It was definitely rough to watch, man. It was rough to watch.
But I mean, like there's no bedside manner. They literally just grab her by the legs and just yank her down. Like, there was no caretaker for her. They're like, well, you're gonna die anyway, so let's just be as rough as guts.
What I found interesting, Zach, was they kept going from the birthing scene to the people killing each other at the tourney.
Yeah.
And it was almost like a representative thing. Like, again, that was her battlefield and she was losing,
Yeah. The battlefield's on your back is what they were saying. And that's, I guess, what that means. And if anyone's I've seen a real C-section, and it's still pretty medieval now. It's not a fun thing to watch in real life either. So, but this was hard to watch even still. The way holding her down, I thought it would have been maybe even nicer just to put her out first.
Yeah, drug her.
Yeah,
choking her to death. Anything.
Yeah,
anything with that.
She was great.
So they said they couldn't give her any more milk of the poppy, else it would risk the baby. And if they kill her, I don't think, unless they get to the baby like really quick, I don't think
rough.
that would.
I don't know. I think you could have.
Yeah, it was definitely a rough scene.
Smothered her or
I think
something.
you could have just slit her throat. first.
Yeah, smother her with a pillow. Honey, take a deep breath into the pillow.
Yeah. Yeah, just think like
dump her off the
chloroform,
pillows and then smother her.
But it was rough, like her screaming, I'm scared, like, no, don't do this. It was definitely a tough scene to watch.
I couldn't watch it.
I kind of looked away, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, me too. Did you guys see the Bounty in the Comics article that was saying the birthing scene was reminiscent for the
the Red
Roe v.
Wedding?
Wade.
Oh.
No, the Roe v. Wade. It's
What?
like,
I didn't.
That's a stretch.
yeah, I think everybody working on this doesn't understand what they're working on.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
if you don't talk about politics, this show is fine. Like I'd be your number one fan if you don't bring politics into this.
I'll have to take a look at that later because that just pisses me off.
Yes, the baby died, but they weren't abortion.
Yeah, this is something completely different.
Exact opposite.
Yeah, exact
Yeah.
opposite.
Well, I think he was trying to say like this is what women have to go through, and you're gonna make them do that because you took away Roe v. Wade.
Oh God.
That's
Let's
the
move on.
most
Let's
bizarre
move
thing
on.
ever.
We're moving on. That'll be for a
I do
Wednesday
like
or the
that.
dump.
I do like
Yeah.
that armor though. Looks
That
really
armor is dope.
Look at that.
That is dope.
Yeah.
It actually
So-
looks like armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got that
cool.
Lord of the Rings.
The only thing wrong with that is the open face. And like I get it, it's for a attorney. It's supposed to be like showy, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't want
No,
your
but that's
face showing.
That's also his character. That's the whole thing. That's the hubris of that character and the cruelty. Like he wants people to see. He wants his enemies to see his face.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see
It
that.
plays very much in with his character.
I agree with you on that one. Again, I think they did Tristan Cole wrong here, or Kristen Cole. What's it, Tristan or Kristen? I always forget.
I think. I don't
With a
know.
T, right?
CC, Culture Casino. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, the beard that never ends. He has him down and out, and then he turns his back.
Yeah, he didn't ask him to yield. It's well within the rules. He didn't ask him to yield.
But what happened before that?
He had him down. He's out.
Before that.
Well, they were fighting. Okay.
So he gets unhorsed, and then he says he goes for his sword, and then they fight.
Yeah, like they both knew they were fighting.
But he
then-
won. I mean, Kristen won, right?
Tristan
No.
won,
Oh, yes, he unhorsed
Well,
him.
yeah.
But
See
then,
that part.
yeah, he messed him up. But this is where he gets hit in the back, right here somewhere.
No,
Turns
but
into
what
a
I'm
fist
saying,
fight, kind of.
but yeah,
Look.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying
right here.
is, Kristen won the fight.
He
Damon
won the
turned
joust. He won the joust.
He won the joust. He won.
Yes.
He's
He
the
lost
winner.
the fight.
And Damon kicked him.
Yep.
And then turned around and act like he won.
No.
Yeah.
He won the joust. Damon calls for his sword, and Tristan lines up again with his Morning Star and his. So they fought equally right there. It wasn't like he attacked him with him not being ready. They both lined up.
But Damon never won. He got into the ground, even though he was previously on the ground, and then acted like, yeah, that's it. I've done enough to win, therefore I've won. He's like, dude,
I agree
the fight's
with
not
you.
over.
I agree
He's
with
like-
you that
Yeah.
he didn't make him yield, and that's maybe showing Damon's a weakness of Damon's. Like he doesn't follow through to the end. He just celebrates.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because right here, he's like, I'm the best. Oh, shit, I got it from behind. And that's how he loses.
He's
You know
never
what I
watched
mean?
wrestling. That's
and
for
here's
sure.
the thing: if he wanted to, he really wanted to do it, he would have hit him in the head.
Yeah, I don't think he
He
would
hit,
have
he,
done
he hit him on the most protected part of his body.
Oh, yeah, they would have killed him if he, like, murdered him from behind, I think.
instantly.
Yeah. So Damon loses. That starts a, rivalry between these two that will go on for years. And we find out that the king makes the hard decision of the baby or the mom, and neither works out for him. So we get the funeral scene, and I like how they don't tell you. They just show you the baby. I thought that was
Yeah.
rough enough to see. As a parent, you don't want to see that. So that was rough.
Dude,
but the
Payne's
way he
such a
looks
good
up,
actor.
oh, he's
Jesus
such a
Christ.
good actor.
Yeah.
I know, like that just that one thing. You can see he's not saying a word, he's not moving, he's just holding a face, and that is a face of regret. That's like he knows. You can just see it in one expression. It's so good.
Yeah.
He did.
And he
didn't
looks
go
like he's
over the
aged
top,
like
he's
10
not
years.
falling. Yeah,
Zach, good
it's-
point.
That's what I mean.
Good
Like,
point.
I think they've nailed the actors in this one. Even the people who I didn't think were going to be that good had surprised me. Yes, it's only one episode and it's minimal, but sometimes that's all we need to be like, you know what, I'm in. I think I might watch the next one. Unironically. you know.
Yeah. So
And the dragon.
the dragon burning them, that was bad. I love how they jump into Valerian so no other people understand what they're
Yes.
talking about.
Yes.
I thought that was really cool how they speak to each other in the old
Didn't
tongue.
realize there was a lot of rolling of the tongue in Valerian.
Oh, very rolly.
Yeah, I really like how they show Damon like caring for his family. Like he
Yeah.
tells Rhaenyra, like, "Hey, your father needs you. Why don't you go
Yep.
go help him?"
And then
Looking out
she
for his
says,
brother again.
Yeah, that also goes back to what Damon says later on. He's like, I've always been there to protect you. Even in this scenario with that something's going on, he's always been the one that's it, because the king is the king who waits, essentially. He says he's weak. He's the one that has to do all the dirty work, essentially.
right. She looks to her father to tell her it's okay to do it, and he couldn't even look at her. So Damon steps up and says, this is how you'll help your dad. And she says, which people thought was I guess people thought that it was a Dothraki term, but no, Dracarys is definitely old Valerian.
Yeah.
And she does a very good job at it.
And I love how even the dragon is sad
Yeah.
and hesitant
waiting.
to do it at first.
And waiting. That was pretty cool.
Is that the Queen's dragon?
No, I want
No.
to.
Whose dragon's that?
That's hers.
Rhaenyra's dragon.
Rhaenyra's
Rhaenyra.
dragon.
Okay, that's why it had to be her that did it. Okay.
Yeah. That was just great. And you see the guys in the background, like everybody kind of takes a little step back. Like they do such a
Yeah.
great job with melding the CGI with actual practical actors. That's freaking
This
awesome.
was Rhaenyra's best scene for me too. Just the way it all played out. I thought she did a good job, and there was some nuance with her and Damon, and I liked that. I like that they've allowed that to be in the show. It's not hitting you over the head with everything.
Yep.
Such a power couple.
God.
Yeah.
So then we get to this scene, the small council already talking about succession. And I think this is the series, the actor's best moment where he's like, you're circling around me, like fighting over the bits and pieces of my dead wife and son.
Yeah, I love this scene. It
Yeah.
It really shows like he stops being so like middle of the road, like peacekeeping type, and he's finally like, just leave me alone, and he just walks out.
It was a powerful moment for him. Like,
what's the line?
Yeah,
about it's
I like how you saw this, the
like a
different
feast for
sides, the
crows or
different
something. He
factions
mentions or
forming.
something.
wait a minute, hold on. Mr. Grant Gregory, say that again.
He says a line. I can't remember what it was, but it reminded me like something. It's like it's like a feast for crows or something in it when he's talking about his family.
Mm-hmm. Like picking
I can't
over
remember
the
what
dead.
It was,
it was something about like picking over the bones.
The word. I really liked how it was written. I was just like, it's almost like this was written by George.
Yeah, he says something like, "You're all just crows circling my dead wife in air," or something like that.
Yeah, or something
There.
like that.
Yeah, you're right.
It's right here. My wife and son are dead. I'm going slow. I will not sit here and suffer crows that come to feast on their corpses.
Yeah.
So
Nice
feast the
catch.
crows. Wow, really nice catch there, man.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Like when I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Okay, so like, because this is a lot of like flash forwarding with stuff that we already know, but
Yeah.
because we have the hindsight of knowing what happens and everything, there's a lot of call forwards, I guess you'd call it, instead of callbacks.
Yeah, call forward. I would say that.
Yeah. So, but I as it was worded and everything, it reminded me of the first 4 seasons
Wow,
of Game of Thrones. Because otherwise, if this was season 8, he would have just said McQueen's dead.
Yeah.
You don't want it.
That's a valid
want
point. They went back to like the old style of speaking that George had at the beginning of Game of Thrones. So the Game of Thrones season 1 through 4, Tyrion would speak, "Thou's brother," my brother, harms me with his words, to the end where he's like, whoever has the best
Peter
story.
Dinklage, guys. That was actually Spork.
Yeah, that was me.
Everyone knows. That wasn't
That was
Peter
me.
Dinklage. Yeah.
I was his stand-in. But you saw we went back to that with this show, and I'm grateful for that because it was terrible at the end of the other season. So he walks out all ticked off, and then you get this scene. You get this scene with Alicent and Otto Hightower, and he pretty much pimps out his daughter,
Yep.
and she knows it's coming too.
But I look when the way in which it was going on and everything like that. I don't think this was the first time this has happened.
With the
Because
king, I think it is.
Well, I'm saying with her and the father saying, "Well, you have to go to." And she's like, "Oh, with the chambers, like, well, I've got to keep doing this."
Right.
I thought we're here now. It's different,
Right. It's the way he looked at her when he said it too. I can't find the exact moment, but he gives her a look like, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like, this is our opportunity.
The weirdest thing about it is he doesn't look like because he embraces her earlier on and everything, and he's caring, and then he's back to duty. There's almost like a certain pride where he's just like, okay, this is another step that I've got to controlling the king,
Right.
because he's clearly the guy that's in charge. He's as close to a Tywin Lannister as we're ever going to get in this series, I think.
I agree with you.
I think
This is. Sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah, go Jane.
No, I was just gonna say I think part of it too is from what I recall, they have a close relationship with the Maesters, right? The Hightowers. And I wonder if they're part of this plot to break up the Targaryen family.
100% think
so
that's true.
You kill the wife and child,
Yep.
right? That leaves the girl heir. But if you can sneak your daughter in there,
Yep.
then you further dilute the bloodline.
Yep. And I believe that in the main story, when we finally, if we ever get another book, we're going to see the Hightowers actually come back out and do the same exact thing. That same exact behind the scenes trying, maybe a little too late, but trying to play the game from the Maester's point of view. The also the Seven's point of view, the church, the Seps, like they work with them all because they're from Old Town. That's where they're all based out of. So I agree with you on that.
And I feel so bad for her. Like she came in thinking her dad was going to comfort her, and he basically is like,
I'm whoring you out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this part, Katina Martin puts, wear one of your mother's dresses. That I was just like, oh, that's icky. Like, why? Are they slutty? Like, you know what?
It'll make her look older, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah.
And it was a really, you know what? It turned into, thank God, to be a sweet scene.
I don't think so.
Well,
I know. Yeah.
You think they got it dirty?
He had that side. No, oh, absolutely. The side that he did, and then he looks up at her at the end of it. He's just like, yeah, all right.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah. Because she transitions. You see her go from scared little girl to, okay, I'm a woman moving up the social ladder, and this is what I have to do.
No shit.
100%, Jane. Nailed it. That's exactly what I got as well with it.
I don't think her dad has done this with her before. I think that this was him sort of, playing the hand he was dealt. The best he can.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's pretty attuned with what's going on if that's the case.
I think she understands what she's there for.
I think she understands she was positioned to be at court from the very beginning to be a potential.
Yeah, and I also liked that each shot when they cut back and forth, it's slowly getting closer and closer on them.
Yeah, like they're getting closer.
Drawing them in. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, now I gotta look. Okay, so he's sad. Awesome, like old Valerian, like he's playing with his toys. See, I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was that sigh. Yeah, that's what I got. When he's like, oh yeah.
I didn't get that.
He knows why she's there. Yeah, okay.
Well, that's interesting though. I like that. I wanted this castle is dope. I don't think this is the red. This isn't the Red Keep though, right? I don't know what it is.
I think that's the old Valyria.
That's what I thought too. Okay. Yeah, he's like doing a massive like
toy.
Toy. It's freaking awesome.
What a nerd.
Boobs. Hold on. Jump way ahead.
Oh, there's a lot more than boobs.
Yeah, that's a lot going on there. Go ahead, Mason. What were you going to say?
I didn't get that from that scene. I thought like he finally had somebody that wasn't trying to like take something from him like in that exact moment, and he was kind of like, thank you for just saying sorry.
I agree. Mason, 100% I agree. I think she went in there thinking she was going to have to. Yeah. And he, I think, thought she was, that was the plan. And when she started talking about her own mother and people never knew what to say, and I wish they just said, and she says, I'm really sorry, my Grace. That sigh was him sighing like, okay, like I don't need to like play this game with her. Like we could just chill. I don't know.
That's what I thought too, Scott. I thought they both seemed relieved at that point. That okay, we're good. That this is kind of done. That's what I thought.
I took it as he's defeated. It was just like another thing. It's just like
no.
That's the way that I took it. So
I think she played it better than what her father wanted her to do. Instead of sleeping with him, she would have been like he would have felt regret. He would have just casted her away. What she did was like. She, I don't know, imprinted on him or like became.
It's like God, what's that girl's name in Game of Thrones?
Danny.
Marjorie. Yeah, she was very good at that manipulation of men.
Yes.
And I think that's what you saw happen.
See.
Yeah, she's kind of just like, you can lean on me if you need to.
Yeah, but I didn't get it as a Marjorie. Marjorie, you knew that was her. Maybe it's just because the girl seems so much more innocent.
Also,
I don't know.
There is a possibility I have an information bias because I know what happens later on with stuff.
Right.
That I'm also looking for it as well. But that I go off how I felt when I saw that. I was just like, he's just like, it never ends.
Right.
But the girl walked in with. She came in with practically. Y'all called him a nerd, but it's like. He's playing with his Legos, and she comes in with a comic book. I mean, that's
she comes in to read him a bedtime story.
Yeah, it was pretty. It's pretty hot though. So we move on from there, and we get to the brothel again, and you could tell Damon is hurting by this, but they kind of egg him on, and he presents a toast.
Valyrian name, Eggamon.
Yeah, Eggamon. Eggamon. Yeah, that's a new one. But they egg him on to like give a toast, so he does, and we find out later that the rat, Otto Hightower the rat, tells on him and tells King Viserys that he called him the heir for a day. Aww. So now he's really pissed, and it's their first time ever seeing Blackfire on screen. Blackfire is right there. That sword disappears way down the line, but this is the first time we've seen it on screen with a king.
Looks great.
It's a dope looking sword. I thought it would be more, but it's an actual like usable sword. I thought it'd be more pageantry, but it makes more sense. Yeah, that's it. It's worn. I like that. This scene is all about him, you know, like, I've always protected you. They're almost yelling at each other the same things. Like, no one has your back here at court, Damon. I've always looked out for you. Well, no one has your back here at court, and I would look out for you if you let me. You know, so what did you guys think of this scene?
So real quick, I just want to say that them in the scene before in the council, I don't think he could have said this to Daemon unless he had gone through that.
Right.
I think that kind of gives him the boost to say something this.
Oh, when he
harsh.
acted, yeah, when he like about the, you know, picking over the bones. Yeah, I think he's.
Well,
we're
he's
seeing
starting
a side
to grow a
of him.
spine. That's the whole thing. He's just he's got to a point where he was trying to placate everyone and do the right thing and everything, and he's just like, no, I'm the king. I've got to stand up for this. If I don't want to do it, I'm not doing it.
Right.
Just screw with everyone, and I think that's also the reason why he's holding the sword that way to show dominance. He's like, you do forget, brother. I am the king. It's not you.
Oh yeah, a sword standing like that is a sign of aggression.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, even the way in which he plays it, he even says, "You're weak." He grips the handle of the sword just a little bit tighter. I like little subtle things like that. I really enjoy that.
Because don't forget when Robb Stark sees Tyrion coming back to Winterfell and Robb is now in control, he lays the sword across his lap, showing that you're not a welcome guest. So this to me is that same feeling. You are no longer welcome here. This is king. And I like how he makes sure I am your king. Like, you will call me your grace. Like, I'm putting you in your place right now. I am not your brother. I am the king.
I love their dialogue though, because you could see behind the words the pain that they both feel in this moment, and also the lingering love they have for each other.
Yeah.
Neither one of them want to be in this position, and they know it.
Yep.
But it's just gone too far.
Yeah. There's the subtext between what they're saying. They're saying what they're saying, and it's what they're not saying that I think we're picking up more so. And I also like the fact that he didn't actually admit to saying that, and we never heard him say that. All he said was, "We all mourn differently."
Yeah, that's true.
I believe Damon in that scene too. I believe that it would be how he would mourn, and that he really is trying to help his brother. And even if that's not true, the performance made me buy it.
Yeah.
So that goes back to what I said earlier. When he says things, I believe them.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. He does a great. Matt Smith. I was not Jane. I agreed with you. I was like, are you freaking kidding me, Matt Smith? But damn, did he pull it off? At least in this first episode. So. He sends him away. He sends him back to the Vale to his wife. He no longer wants him around. And it's almost kind of like reminds me of Robert. The Hand of the King is pushing away allies, does not want allies around him so he can control him better. So, you know, the Tyrion or Tywin / Otto kind of comparison. And it's working. It's working.
I feel so bad for Daemon though in this he does call him my lord, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, he does.
He gives him that respect, but there's a moment too where he calls him by name.
Yep. When he's telling him like, I am here to protect you, brother.
Yeah.
You know?
And he acts like they're alone in that room because he forgets about the Kingsguard, and he moves right towards them. And you kind of forget they're there as well because these two are interacting with each other like brothers.
About him.
Yep.
No, that's right. No, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't forget about him.
So the Kingsguard step in, block him from moving towards his brother. Like, he wasn't being aggressive, but they did their job. He sends him away. He leaves, and then
he let them.
Right.
He probably easily could have killed them both.
There was 4 of them.
I honestly thought, okay, one of the things is going to happen. Either he's just going to go, all right, I'll fight a battle another day, or he's just going to fuck him up and then go and just talk to his brother. I honestly thought he was just going to slaughter these guys and then just continue the conversation as if nothing happened.
Which would have been his move, but I think he rose above it in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, protect him. He is trying to protect him by calling him weak. Like, you are weak. No one else will tell you the truth. I will, brother.
Yeah, I'll protect you from you.
Yeah. Mason?
Yeah, he's trying to do the right thing, but he has a very weird way about going about it. And I think that's like why I really like him. Is like he's trying to do the right thing. He's like, you're weak. You need somebody to protect you. Let me do that for you.
Right.
But it comes off as him just being like, I don't know, very. I don't know the right word for it.
Well, he's very blunt. He's very blunt. This
Yeah.
is how he speaks. He speaks his truth, but it comes off harsh if you're not really listening to what he's saying.
But not cruel. That's the thing. It is harsh, but it's not cruel. Where someone
No.
like a Joffrey or something like that, there was a cruelness and a malice behind the words. I didn't feel that with him.
Never.
Right. I agree with you on that. And then at the very end, he cuts his finger on the throne, showing again he's losing control of that throne. The throne is now taking control of him. He is not worthy. The cuts matter. The cuts matter. And then we move on. So we move on to the next scene, and this is one of the scenes that I swear to God I wanted to throw the monitor away. So we find out that he is questioning his daughter on what she believes the dragons are and they are. And she answers correctly, I guess, that they're no different than anybody else, but the dragons make them different. He says the dragons, we should never have tamed the dragons. And then also, I'm naming you heir. And by the way, there's a prophecy. Aegon never was going to conquer it just to conquer it. He conquered it because a prophecy of a very harsh winter. Oh, maybe a week-long winter. You know, and they never say, you know, the prince that was promised, he drops that. Now, what did you guys feel about this? I've seen people say, well, it can work because maybe she was the last one to hear this promise, and then Rhaegar rediscovers it. I just think it changes everything about Aegon. Now he's a savior instead of somebody who had ambitions to control Westeros.
I also find it funny that it's also if it's the name of the thing that's been lost throughout the years because it hasn't been passed down and everything, it's really odd that that's what the story of everything that happened at the end of Game of Thrones is called as well.
Right.
In the I can't even remember who wrote it, but yeah, that was on the front page. It was a Song of Ice and Fire. It's like,
right.
Okay, so it did get passed down or it didn't. Like, did
exactly.
she tell everyone? Is this common knowledge now or?
Right. And none of the stuff he says actually happens. There has to be a Targaryen on the throne. There wasn't. You know, a Targaryen has to meet this directly and defeat them. It wasn't even a semi-Targaryen. It was a complete Stark. Arya Stark.
But that's the show. That's the show.
Yeah.
I think I like it. I like the idea of. In fact, I like the idea of secrets being passed down through power anyway, because at least it gives it some reason beyond just simply greed. And even in the real world, like there are all these mythologies about what the royal families of the world are and the secrets that they hold and are protecting probably. Like I like that being carried over into the show. And I like that it's lost, and I like that the prophecies can't necessarily be believed entirely.
Mm-hmm.
It adds another level to the mythology.
Yeah. And then he has the cat's paw on his waist.
Yeah.
You know, like
was that the same blade that was used to kill the Night King?
Yes, the same one that was almost killed Bran, the same one that killed the Night King. Spoilers for Game of Thrones season 8.
It had to come from somewhere.
Wait,
oh, please. We never hear about it in their history. Go on.
How does he have the dagger? Because I thought that one came from Littlefinger and was a gift to
Joffrey. Robert. Yeah. That's a good question.
I thought he said he had it made. I don't know why, but in my head I was like, oh, it can't be that one because I thought he said he had it made as a gift.
That's the cat's paw. That's the same dagger, or at least it's supposed to make us think it's the same dagger. Looks exactly the same to me from the hilt. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
it's kept in bloody good nick, that's for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Zach, what do you think?
The whole scene here was it was pushing a lot of member-berry buttons, I thought, and it was a bit overly theatric, but like they could have done this anywhere else, but to have them go and stand in front of the skull of the dragon and all these candles lit and then the cat's paw and then him, you know, referencing A Song of Ice and Fire, I thought was It was a bit much for me. I didn't.
But I do
thought
think he would have to, if he's telling her she's going to be the leader. You're going to be my heir. I
He
think
has to
doing
tell
it in
her.
front of the dragon would be the absolute perfect place. But they did kind of take attention away from it with all these other things.
Yeah.
I like that he questioned her though. I think that was
I thought that was a good idea.
important.
I don't know, questioning a woman, TV, you can't do that
Oh.
day and age, James.
it's true.
I don't know where it's going to go with it. Are they going to push this for the series? Like, is this going to be something behind the scenes that, like, I have to be the queen because I'm the only one that knows this? You know, like, I don't know. I don't know if I like it. I don't think I do.
The
I don't think I
children
like
are both Targaryen, right?
Yeah, I don't like it.
No,
I
I don't
hate-
think that would be her reason. I don't think that would be her rationale. I think her fight is just that I'm not going to be Rhaenys. You're not going to push me off of my throne.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. I was the queen that was promised. So now everyone bows down to thee. So they kind of go in between her talking to her father and everyone, crowning her the next heir. And then we get
But
dragons.
that was important too. I mean, he was doing that to try his best to shore up her reign,
Right.
because he knows that it's a very precarious situation, and he thinks that if these people all swear to her now, that they
Yes.
will be loyal to her once he passes.
Which
Little does he know that that's not.
I don't
He
mean
hasn't really
shit.
tried his best.
Right. And then we see Daemon fly away with his
Yeah.
Madam Misery.
Madam Misery.
Yeah.
Look at the difference of that dragon. Like
He looks so happy.
Yeah, that's what do they call him? The fireworm or something like that. He is scary looking. Like that.
Look at those teeth.
Yeah, double rows of teeth, like the side. It doesn't look like the same dragon. Whereas in the original Game of Thrones, it was kind of like carbon copies, just different sizes. So I
Wait,
thought,
is this the one that has the limp?
You keep mentioning a limp. I don't know which.
I don't remember the limp. This is the bloodworm, though. I think they call him. But that's how this episode ends, and that's
Was it me or when Stark pledged his loyalty? He looked pissed off.
Yeah. Let's go on, Jane. Go on.
Before this, you see him petting him.
Yeah.
And calming him down because he's going to meet this new person.
Yep.
And he wants him to know that you can trust her. She's with me.
That's true.
He's going to be with us.
Yep.
And he's a little wild at first and a little distrusting at first. And she puts her hand on him and touches him and he calms down.
Yep.
And then they go on their ride.
Yep. And look how amazing that looks. It's
on a magic dragon ride.
I found this episode to be it's not, to me, it is definitely not better than the first episode of Game of Thrones. I think it was good, but it wasn't great.
I think action-wise, I enjoyed it a lot more.
There was definitely more
so.
action.
I always thought the first few episodes of Game of Thrones was a very slow burn, and I think this one starts to get into a lot more, and I enjoy that. Even though I think this episode did have pacing issues, I think when it got there, I think it got to where it needed to get to as fast as it should have. And that's what I appreciated about it.
Do you think we'll see White Walkers, guys? Oh, first of all, Mason, were you going to say something else, Mason, before that?
I think the show, it had to do a lot for its first episode. Like, it had to introduce a whole new cast of people. It had to show off King's Landing, had to introduce the power dynamic. But it also tried to show you, like, hey, here's a tourney, here's here's all the stuff you used to love about Game of Thrones. Trying to make it show that, like, it's trying to do better. It's not going to be a Game of Thrones season 8. It's going to be something different. So saying that, I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I don't know if I liked it. I'm still like I don't know. Zach,
now that we've talked
you're too
about
much
it,
of a perfectionist for the text. I think that's the problem. You have an information bias when it comes to that, and if it's not the way in which that you
but there wasn't a lot of dialogue in the text, so it's like I understand.
But you haven't said anything that you had an issue with the dialogue. It's about certain things that happen within the story and that, and I mean, and I can understand that. There's nothing wrong with being a purist, but it can also cloud things that you would normally have liked and mar your overall thing. Because if one thing straight off the bat, I almost turned it off after that first line from Nero about because she was I know where this is going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it didn't go there.
Yeah, but I'm saying I think that's going to be an issue going forward with you reviewing it, because you love the original text and you know it so well that every little slight feels so much bigger, and it feels like it holds more weight than it does.
I'll hold my judgment of the series till the end. I'd like to see where the episodes go. I do have one question that was from way back. B Spin asked, will this series have Children of the Forest or White Walkers, which was asked also. What do you guys think? Will there be Children of the Forest? Will there be White Walkers at all? I don't think White Walkers, but Children of the Forest, I mean, they have a weirwood tree and freaking in the Godswood, so I guess there could be. Jackasses. All right. I don't know. Do you think we'll get any of that, Zach?
I don't think so. No, I don't think we will. At least not in this season. Maybe in a further season we'll get there, but I don't think they'll go that far this season with it. I think they're going to try to stay away more from that storyline. They've brought it in now so that we know that they know about it, but I think that's going to be as far as they take it. And I don't think this was as good as episode 1 of Game of Thrones, because like that episode pulled people in who had no idea what they were even watching. Most people now know what this is.
Good point.
So they're already prepared for this, and there's no twincest, no kids falling off buildings. Like, no.
I'm with you.
Yeah, you're right.
Christie.
None of the good stuff. Yeah.
Well, I'm with you, Christy. The whole idea that he said a Song of Ice and Fire pissed me off. Okay, so let's just once again go around. Good start to the season. Looking forward to the season. Nah. Mason, we'll start with you. Looking forward to the season?
So I definitely enjoy it a lot, but now that we've talked about it, I do see a lot more problems.
Yeah, that's a tough part.
As long as it doesn't just fall off the rails, I think I'll be plenty interested. But if you're not watching this, I would just say wait till the end and listen to somebody else talk about it, and then decide. Yes, right here, be here.
Yeah. Be here every Monday night. Jane, what did you think? Thank you, Mason.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It has the flaws, and I recognize those, but it definitely isn't as good as Game of Thrones episode 1, and I doubt it would rise to the occasion of the entire season 1 of Game of Thrones. But it's enjoyable, I think, for what it is, for the type of story that it is. Like I said before, you can definitely see George's print on it, which I love as well, because we're getting the story that we were only told about through the history.
Yeah.
We're getting to see it sort of play out, and I always love that sort of thing. And I love the acting. I mean, the performances of these people is just amazing in the dragon. So as long as it doesn't get too crazy, as long as it continues to stay close enough to the material, I'm on board.
Okay, Zach.
Flaccid Phoenix is trolling you with that stuff right now, I think.
Is he really?
I think so, yeah.
That bastard.
I'm in on it. I wasn't that excited about this series. I left after having watched it. I'm more excited about it going forward. And one thing I can say for sure is that like my wife watched this episode with me the whole time, and the original series, she fell asleep during the Red Wedding. So like,
oh wow,
what?
I know, right? I know. I still married her.
Strange enough, I was also reading past when that was on. So.
That's great. That's great.
But she watched the whole thing, so I mean, I watched it twice and I enjoyed it.
Okay, all right. And Mr. Grant Gregory.
Okay, well, clearly I'm in the minority here, where I enjoyed it more than the first episode of Game of Thrones. I stand by that. If this is the worst episode of the season, I'll be a happy man.
Okay,
put it that way.
All right.
Think the acting was way above what I expected. Whoever cut the trailer for this series did a massive disservice, because there's a lot of people that wouldn't have watched it for that. If they just showed bits and pieces from this first episode, it would have hooked so many more people in.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see where it goes. Matt Smith, the standout for me. Absolutely. Paddy was like just face acting. It's back. Actual acting is back, and I kind of
subtle.
Yes,
yeah.
Subtle acting. But overall, I give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
And I'm pretty happy with it. I'm gonna watch it. unironically, because I'm actually genuinely looking forward to episode 2 now.
I agree with Katina. I did kind of enjoy it, but I didn't love it. Again, maybe I do have biases. Maybe I need George to finish the books. Maybe because I know where it's leading to.
You gotta not think about that.
And I'm trying. I'm really trying.
You're gonna hate every single thing.
And that's
Yes.
you know what?
Wait, where does it go? Big happy ending? Is it?
Yeah. Whoever has the best story. I believe I really am trying to watch this with like brand new eyes. I felt like the pacing, there was a little bit issues with the pacing in this first season or episode, and they tried way too much. It almost felt like a season finale to me than a starting of a season. I don't know why, but you know what I mean? Like with her being like,
Yeah.
and him flying
No,
away.
I get that.
It felt like a season ending thing, but we'll see where it goes. We'll be here every Monday night, guys, at 8 p.m. Eastern. Check us out before you go somewhere else. Thank you to all the new subscribers, the people that we hit over 120 likes tonight. I really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to Jane. You're probably already subscribed to Mason, Zach, Mr. Grant Gregory, and myself. We are streamed by the Crossroads. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Do I have a closing? We'll just play the opening again.
Oh, yeah. Take it to each episode. It'll not be just a starter.
It's loud. It's really loud.
What? I
What?
can't hear you over the music.
Huh? Who's that guy?
That's Mark. He gives me little finger vibes.
Does, definitely. Love that name.